It seems like Bitcoin's got bigger problems than just Swan and Prime Thrust.
Oh yeah, Prime Thrust is I don't want to say it's a nothing burger at this stage, but it's pretty much a nothing burger in terms of like affecting price and anything. Um, but um, yeah, Bitcoin seems to be dead on the charts. We can talk about that in a bit. I just wanted to get on here and talk about the inevitability of the estate of Prime Trust and the bankruptcy trustees. Um, the eventuality of them going after every single entity that withdrew Bitcoin from Prime Trust in the immediate, well, I guess the immediate time zone when they declared bankruptcy, or not. They didn't even. I don't even think they declared bankruptcy right away. I think there was the state regulators came in and shut them down and froze everything. And I don't know what the I forget what the official timelines on when they actually filed for bankruptcy. But essentially they are coming after everyone that withdrew Bitcoin from Prime Trust in like the weeks leading up to the regulators coming in, right?
Is that
And
individuals as well
I
as
haven't
entities?
I haven't seen individuals. I've only seen the two uh the strike lawsuit and the Swan lawsuit. There is other ones that I suspect are probably coming as well. Um, because it all comes down to like what's the I don't want to call it the risk reward, but how much money they would have to spend in a court battle versus how much they can actually claw back, right? And so obviously some of the bigger entities that withdrew the most, which is being Swan and Strike and probably a couple others, that it actually might make sense for them to go after them legally. Um, because like for in the instance of Swan, um, Swan doesn't have that money, right? Like Swan does not and never have had that amount of money, right? It's all their customer funds, right? And so that would bring in a very interesting um, precedent that I would think like because if they sued Swan, let's just say they did and they have, and let's say they win that, and then the court is basically telling them that they have to transfer back all the assets that they moved out of Prime Trust in the weeks leading up to the regulators closing Prime Trust. Well, the only assets that could ever be clawed back are client assets that are held elsewhere at the moment. And I believe they're probably held at BitGo, right? And so that brings into question is like, okay, what supersedes? Like, so now that these assets are held at, I think Bitco even got their OCC license. I'm pretty sure they got their charter. I could be wrong. Their federal charter, right? Before they had state chartered trust companies. But then that begs the question: is like, are those assets owned by the clients, or are they technically owned by Swan still, right? And it brings in a lot of interesting questions that would eventually probably get solved out in court. Um, but I think the most likely scenario would be that Swan goes bankrupt. And it's not that anyone would lose assets. Like I really have a hard time thinking and seeing that some court would allow the client's assets at Swans that are realistically at custody at BitGo for the most part, that the court would force them to move those assets over to the bankruptcy estate of Prime Trust. Like I don't think see that would happen. I would think the most likely thing that happened would be that Swan would basically just get hit with like, okay, well, if you no longer have those assets under title to yourself, like you owe us this, and if you can't owe us this, you're gonna have to find a way to pay us back, right? And the only real viable thing is for them just to claim bankruptcy. Like, there's no, like, if that's the case, right? Like, that's why this case is really, really interesting, right? Because it's like obviously people have the opinion that it was never Swan's assets to begin with. It was their client assets, so they can't come after Swan directly, but they are. Um, and then Swan's going to claim that these aren't even those were never our assets, um, which I think they're going to have a hard time arguing based off of the agreement, the terms of service with Prime Trust. It really looks like the service agreement really says that those assets are entitled only to the client, and that Prime Trust at any time can take title of those assets and do what they want with them. That's literally right in the fucking terms of service that clients signed on when they open up a Swan account. So Prime Trust legally might have legally those could be the Prime Trust assets, right? So there even is a case that even if Swan doesn't have those assets, that those clients theoretically could possibly be uh, on the hook, right? Because remember, when you open an account at Swan, you actually sign an underlying agreement with Prime Trust, and so like if those assets are deemed to be Prime Trust and they're on Prime Trust balance sheet at the time and 90 days before bankruptcy, then it's that's that, right? Now, what's the likelihood of them getting those assets back? That's a different story, right? And that's why I'm telling everyone this is super important. Like if you have assets at Swan, you need to get them off of Swan immediately. You do not want to be risking your assets depending on which way this case goes. Like whether it goes good or bad, like you do not want to be risking your thing, because I will say whether it goes good or bad for Swan, even if it goes nuclearly bad for Swan, if you get your assets off of Swan and move them somewhere, even somewhere anywhere else, not even self custody, but if you move them somewhere outside of the control of Swan and or their underlying custodian, which is Bitco, you have a like 70 to 90% chance better luck that they're not going to be able to get those assets back, because if you have a couple $100,000 of assets and you just move them to, let's say, another provider, let's say you move them to like River, they're not going to, it's not going to, the juice is not going to be worth the squeeze of the bankruptcy estate to go after each individual person, right? But if you leave them at Swan and at Bitco, and then the court order injunction comes in that those were assets of Prime Trust and they need to be brought back to the bankruptcy estate, and then there's a court order given to Swan and then eventually Bitco that those assets have to be frozen to determine what to do with them, you're fucked, right? So like you got to start fucking moving, right? Never you like whatever you've made clearly horrible fucking decisions up until this point, but don't wait for this fucking court decision to come through, because you're literally an absolute fucking moron if you let that is, right? Because like, best case scenario, the lawsuit gets thrown out and everything's fine, right? Okay, that's great. Who would put whatever percentage you think that is? But even if you think there's a 1 or 2% chance that they lose this lawsuit, you're 10 times more likely to keep your assets if you get them the fuck off Swan and off their underlying custodian. So like, get them the fuck off. Like,
Well, that's right. There's a material risk of
yeah,
those funds being frozen, and either way, Swan's fucked. Um, if users of Swan have their funds clawed back, or the funds of Swan are clawed back, either way, Swan's fucked. And if you trusted Corey, well, you kind of deserve to lose your Bitcoin anyway.
yeah, but if you want your Bitcoin, get the fuck off, get it off fucking Swan now. Even if it's like an IRA, do everything in your fucking power to transfer that IRA over anywhere else. I don't know, there's handfuls of places that you can open up a Bitcoin IRA at this point. So like literally do that, and you can actually get them to transfer the IRA over. So even if it's in an IRA, you can get them to fucking move it. So you need to fucking do that. Uh,
Can we get Corey in here?
yeah, right. He would never fucking come in here. Bro, the last time I was ever in a space with him, it was literally about this. It was back in like 2022 or 2023. And it's as soon as they made that move, and I asked him simple questions about the custody rule, about um, taking custody of clients' assets and moving them without their permission and all these stuff. And like, what about bankruptcy remote and what is clawbacks happen? Like, go look through my history and look at the word, just like search up clawbacks. And you'll see that I don't want to say I was the only person, but like I would say probably the only prominent person being like, there's a material risk here that all of these assets are going to get clawed back in a lawsuit. Like I'm not saying it's 100%, but there's definitely a chance that this happens, right? And I posted one in the nest, like I posted my tweet that I did a few minutes ago of just retweeting one of my tweets, and I said back in June of 2023, I'm like, anyone who withdrew from Prime Trust in the last 90 days is fair game. Like that was just proven true in the last 2 days with these two lawsuits. Like there is a viable case there that they're going after, which is that. And if you click on the tweet that I retweeted and you look up in that thread, um, one of my other tweets was after everyone pulled out from their inside information, which was June of 2023. Um, Basically, if you read these lawsuits in the last 2 days, that's what Prime Trust Bankruptcy Estate is claiming. It's claiming that Swan and Strike management had inside information that Prime Trust was in imminent danger of being shut down by the regulators. So that's what they're claiming is that these people had inside non-public information, and that's what led them to decisions of doing an overnight. An overnight, basically custodial switch, which I'm actually kind of shocked that Swan has not retroactively went back and deleted so much damning evidence on Twitter and tweets, both from Corey, their other C-suite executives, and the actual Swan customer service and Swan Twitter handlers. I'm looking back even right now at all these threads, like, and there is so much damning evidence against them, and they haven't even like at this point they've already been sued. They haven't even deleted it, which is mind-boggling to me. Um, a big shocker. It's just massive incompetence. Like I don't know, like the big out of every company, like even like they've been escaping with the skin of their teeth every fucking time. Like Corey and the Swan management has probably done like 5 or 6 or 7 or maybe even 8 monumental retarded things in the last 5 years that like has just damaged their company time and time and time again. From the Prime Trust bullshit to the Fortress Trust bullshit to them getting all their client information hacked. Like there's so much shit that they've done over the years, the whole tether mining business, like everything they've just done, like nothing they've executed on ever worked. Like it's just been complete not like garbage. And so
Who's funding or who like underwrote Swan?
well, they've had a bunch of rounds. They've had a bunch of fundraising, and so there's been a bunch of VCs, bunch of angel investors, and there's even stuff that's been happening privately in the last like year of funding, but they just can never turn a profit. Like as soon as that, remember when the Tether mining business got air quotes stolen from them? Like the very next day, they fired like 40% of their fucking staff. Like the very next day, because they were in a massive crunch. Like that business was supposed to save them, and then it got apparently taken from them, which is absolutely hilarious. To think that it was taken, one, and then two, that now they're trying to sue Tether at this point, which is hilarious. Good luck. So yeah, then I'm pretty sure that they've tried to, maybe not the word, maybe not try. I think they were successful at getting like private equity funding in like the last year to like keep them afloat. But like they're just hemorrhaging money. Like they're just trying to cut as many corners as they can and just stay afloat and wait for the Bitcoin air quote super cycle to happen is what they're really waiting for. And they're not trying to grow. They're not trying to do anything. They're literally just like on a fucking life raft right now, getting hit with every fucking direction from with lawsuits.
Even with the
So
Bitcoin super cycle, though, I don't really think there's like a fuck ton of money to be made in just being a crypto or a Bitcoin exchange anymore. It doesn't
no,
seem
there's
like it's
not.
actually there. There's nothing
It's
there.
not. There's nothing there. Like, and that's but yeah, there's really nothing there. It's very hard to make like look at even like shitcoin exchanges right now, like fucking Coinbase. They're struggling big time, and they have every fucking shitcoin casino fucking game in existence right now, and they're not even really doing good. Like they're doing very poorly. So like a Bitcoin only company, like if you like you have to be super lean and you have to be super diligent and super like effective to like even make a profit. Like I'm pretty sure Strike makes a profit today, and I'm pretty sure River makes a profit today. But they're not like rolling in the fucking money. Like it's just like a small. It's I don't want to call it small business, but like it's a small business, right? Very thin operating margins. You got to be very lean, very smart with how you spend money. And that's the exact opposite what Swan did. Swan was like literally doing like the hyper growth scale model where they were just taking as much investment as they possibly could and just pumping it into advertisement, and it
Their
completely
marketing
blew
was
up on them.
fucking insane when they
Yeah, it blew
first
up in their
came out.
face.
It was fucking everywhere. You couldn't escape it.
Yeah, every podcast, every conference, there's everything. There was like Twitter. They were paying literal fucking 88 IQ retards to host spaces every single morning. They were paying everybody. You name a Bitcoin influencer, they paid them. Like name one: Natalie Brunel, Preston Pish, um, uh,
Log spaces.
like every fucking influencer. Lynn Alden, like I don't know, like Adam Back, like you name the person, they were paying them to just like do whatever, like. And that's what blew them up. They were spending so much fucking money on absolutely nothing. They had to cancel their shitty fucking Swan conference because it was just a loss leader, and no one wanted to go to that piece of shit. Like it's just great. Like
Where do you sort of see the exchanges going, whether that's crypto or Bitcoin, given that you've got, I guess, other sort of market players doing real world assets, Bitcoin and crypto, prediction
you
markets?
want to know who I think wins?
Yes.
Coinbase, unfortunately. So my thesis, and this isn't really even a Bitcoin thesis. This is just like I don't know how much I told a lot of people, but like I do a lot of work in TradFi. And my thesis is that even for Coinbase right now, like even their current business model, it's like it's not lucrative. Like they're building very foundational blocks and starting within crypto. But and they have like every shitcoin imaginable. Like go pull up their like asset list, and there's just like coins that get listed every day that like are just complete garbage, right? And they only have a few core products. Like if you think about what Coinbase's products are, you have Coinbase like for retail basically. You have Coinbase Prime, which is for either institutions or ultra high net worth individuals. You have like Coinbase Advance, which is for like traders. You have like their whole base initiative, which they're trying to take whatever direction you want to say that. Like there's not a lot of segments. Like there's their like the most successful thing that they have right now is their custody business, and that is like a thinner than a fucking nun's cunt hair of margins, right? Like these in ETFs that they're custodying are probably paying like 1 to 2 bips, right? So it's a very thin. It's basically just like become commoditized. Like not even like that's a huge pun because Bitcoin's a commodity, but like the whole custody is just table stakes at this point to have. Like there's not even a real money maker for the most part, right? Um, where I think Coinbase succeeds is realistically, you know how I'll give it an analogy. So the whole, I don't want to say the last 10 years, but like the whole analogy of like, can HBO become Netflix before Netflix can become HBO, right? And now moving that analogy over to finance, the real question is, can Coinbase become a Fidelity or a Schwab, before a Schwab or Fidelity can become Coinbase. And my thesis is that it is probably 5 to 10 times more likely that Coinbase can become a Schwab or a Fidelity before a Fidelity or a Schwab can become a Coinbase. In terms of where I think finance is going over the next 10 to 20 years, I believe basically, like, and this is like, is this not a Bitcoin thesis whatsoever, but the writing is on the wall that they're going to tokenize absolutely everything. And realistically, the most important thing is going to be US equities. The biggest asset class, it's going to become the biggest asset class in the world. It's gonna eclipse real estate, whether it's American real estate or Chinese real estate. It's just going to continue to grow to be this monstrosity. And tokenizing it allows you to do a bunch of different things. It allows you to increase the velocity of basically equities, which is something you never even really hear about. You hear about it with money, with the velocity of money, but you increase the velocity of equity because once you tokenize it and you allow it to actually spread globally, it can now be used as I don't, this is going to sound shitty for Bitcoiners, but it can be used as a store of value globally. Um,
Well, that's real
and
world assets as a whole,
yeah,
right?
it's
Tokenized real
real.
estate, government
Yeah,
bonds,
well, I
equities.
don't even I don't believe that. I'm not that big on tokenized real estate or even tokenized anything else other than US equities. Like I think everything else is banana peels compared to US equities. Like tokenizing Pokemon cards or watches or real estate or even bonds, no one gives a fuck. No one wants those. Those assets are toxic assets. VC toxic, private credit toxic. Like basically like private equity, garbage, toxic assets. But US equities, now that we're going into this like fourth turning period where they're just going to increasingly go into debt and print money and just shove it into the US economy that goes places and that goes into US equities. So, and it's not going into real estate. Real estate's a dead asset for 10 years at least, in my opinion. Gold obviously is continue to go up because it's gold, but it's not going to be like some fucking rocket ship, right? It's not going to be the fastest horse. Um, and so tokenizing of US equities lets basically anyone in the world theoretically be able to be using US equities as a storage of wealth, and also investment vehicles. And once you tokenize it, you can do so much retarded shit with it and create so much Ponzonomics and tokenomics with US equities that that's the way that they're going. Like just like I'll give you a retarded example that I don't think is that cool, but people seem to be in love with it. Like when you tokenize something, and it's probably more prevalent for bonds, but you can, once you tokenize it, you can actually strip out the yield component of it. So if an equity has a dividend or if a bond has a yield component, you can strip those two things out into two separate tokens, and you can have someone who holds the actual asset, but the other person holds a token that owns the yield of said assets. So there's so much fucking gay fiat cuckery that you can do once you tokenize all these shitty fucking bonds, whether it's commercial bonds or mortgage-backed securities or whatever it is. You can do so much gay shit with it. But this is what they're going to do with TradFi over the next 10 to 20 years. And I would surmise probably over the next 10 years, like the first step is probably third party tokenization of equities, but probably within 10 years, you're probably going to see equities tokenized natively. um, Whether how much openness they give that system and who they let actually own it, and if they let it go spread out through DeFi, or if DeFi has KYC at that point, that's a whole other fucking ballgame. But the tokenization of equities is going to be the biggest. I don't want to call it the biggest innovation in finance because I still think the biggest innovation in finance is Bitcoin, for a lot of different reasons. But all these suit cucks and all these fiat fucks are going to fucking blow their loads for this. And
Is it a logical end though that they need to find new markets, just like they are
with
doing
stable
with
coins,
like Tether and
yeah.
the proliferation of stable coins? They need to find, I guess, new markets and people that are currently priced out of, owning real estate. Hey, look, oh, you can buy 2% of a house or something, or have 2% equity in a
Yeah,
house
I don't
through
believe
these
in
real
the
world
the real
assets.
estate shit. Like I honestly don't think the tokenization of real.
It's going to come though. Someone's going to do it. Whether it's big or not
Yeah, but
is a different
the whole
question.
point about that is though is like, do you actually own the house? Like, so like the biggest problem with like other than equities, it's like you own a token, but do you actually get to utilize the underlying real asset? Which is like probably not, right? You own 2% of a house, like, do you get to stay in that house? No. Do you have any rights to that house?
No, of course not. And I
Right.
don't really think that people see. I get normies don't understand or see that. They
I
just
just think
see
real
the
estate
balance in their
I
account.
just think real estate is so fucking cooked for the next 10 years in my opinion, just because of how real estate has been propagated over the last 60 years with mostly credit. And now I don't believe rates are going anywhere meaningful lower over the next 10 years. Because of lots of different reasons, but let's just call it structural inflation to just put a cap on it. That real estate's going to struggle, right? And the way the outer bounds that I look on real estate is that at what point does real estate become a problem for governments? And it starts to become a problem because it becomes an asset for governments, because if you can basically increase everyone's net worth by increasing their house value, they feel richer, you increase their propensity to spend, yada yada yada. But once
Look at
yeah, but
Australia.
once that real estate
Exactly
but
right.
once that real estate gets to be too expensive, it starts to become a liability, because you have generations that can't buy it, and you have other generations that are not willing to sell for anything lower because a generation cannot afford to buy it. And then you start having a huge disenfranchised part of your country that can't actually afford it, right? Because once you get to that point, like, sure, oh, is real estate just going to continue to go up? It can't, because if it does, there's no one there to buy it, and people are going to lose their fucking minds, right? And you already see that the whole generational divide between, let's just call it millennials and boomers, and Gen Zs and boomers, because boomers are holding on to all of the wealth, and most of that wealth is concentrated in real estate. What do you think happens when these boomers start to die in the next 10 years? Like the amount of houses that are going to come onto the market in the next 10 to 20 years is going to be fucking insane. Like, so
This is the thing. I think that's solved, or from a government perspective, that's solved by
no,
immigration. Because,
I
well,
don't,
literally,
no,
if you look at Australia, for example, the houses can't meaningfully fall at all. The
no,
government
no, no,
just
they're
is
not going
constantly
to. No,
coming out.
what's going to happen is you're going to see housing prices probably only correct 10 to 20%, but they're going to stay there for a decade. Like, just go look back in real estate history and go look at the 90s, right? It's just going to stay there. They can't have that bubble deflate, but they're not going to let it get any bigger. They need a decade for wages to get back up to a point where that disparity is gone. Like, so I'm incredibly bearish on real estate, to be honest with you. And even owning rental properties, I think people have, just look at New York and see what's happening there. That's going to happen everywhere. Like, I don't know, like, whether you're a socialist, whether you're a capitalist, whether you're fucking a literal fucking Nazi or communist, whatever you are, it is very apparent to me, even in the United States over the next 10 years, if the current trend continues, you're going to see massive waves of socialist politicians continue to get into office and enact absolutely draconian and like policies that are going to destroy landlords. Like, owning a piece of property and renting it out in a big city, in my opinion, is a fucking massive liability. They're going to put rent controls on you. They're going to put so many rules and policies on you that it's going to be a losing proposition. So, like, I'm super bearish on real estate. But going back to my original point about like who wins the air quote exchange, crypto exchange, I think it's Coinbase and Robinhood um, over the next 10 years because of the advancements in tokenization with US equities and the amount of trading volume that like Coinbase is already doing it. They're already basically admitting, not openly, but it's like if you go look at their futures products, like they're pushing stocks, like and they're adding stock perpetuals every single day. Like I can trade. Let me just look on what this has. Like you, you can trade Intel, Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft, Google, Amazon, Spy, Meta, Apple, ARM, QQQ, TSM, AMD, like all the fucking high flying stocks that people want to trade, they're already offering it. They already know the direction that like they're realizing that people don't want to trade crypto anymore because it's fucking a losing battle, and it is for 99% of the idiots that try to trade shitcoins. Um, and so they are trying to become the Schwabs before the Schwabs can become them. And I just think fundamentally, if my thesis is that the world assets and the financial system is going to become tokenized, which it is undoubtedly going to be, they have the actual piping and infrastructure to leverage to offer those products in this new financial air quotes world before Schwab or Fidelity can fucking build anything out that even comes close to it, right? So that's where it's going to go. And like these Bitcoin only companies that are just selling you just Bitcoin, like they need to run such a fucking tight ship to be able to continue to do that and make any type of money because it's a hard business to make money. Like realistically, if you're not basically charging customers for custody and you're just charging them to buy Bitcoin. Like you even see it Swan, like they had to charge like almost 100 bips plus like another like 50 bips of like spread just so that they can make money. So like you're paying like a percent to a 2% just to buy a Bitcoin, right? Um, which is kind of fucking insane if you think about it, right? Like if you are like and the funniest thing about Swan is they're not even Bitcoin only. They're just a marketing like white label UI and they just use shitcoin technology underneath. Everything that they do is they use companies that do shitcoin. So it's like even if you're a Bitcoin maximalist, you can't claim that like you're just using a Bitcoin only company for moral reasons. You can do that with River. They're the only ones that I know of that's basically own the full stack. But like, but other than that, there's shitcoin technology somewhere in their stack, right? So it's like you can go to Swan and pay like 2 basis points or 200 basis points over, right? Which is like to me like absolutely fucking insanity. Or like, well, depending on who you are, but like you can go to like Coinbase. Well, I don't know. Depends on who you are, but like personally myself, if I go buy Bitcoin somewhere, like I'm probably paying 5 basis points, right? What would you rather pay? 5 basis points or 200? Yeah, I'll take the five. Right? Like if I'm buying $1 million of
So,
Bitcoin and I have what's 2% of $1 million? It's not a small amount of money, right? Like that's a huge difference. So it's hard for them to continue on, really.
with Robinhood and Coinbase and the equities that they've got trading there, are they open worldwide or just to American citizens
For
or
coin
like
for
certain markets?
so for Coinbase, I believe it's non-US citizens. I think it's international people right now that you can buy the stocks and perps, but I believe they're rolling it out for Americans in the near future. Robinhood, obviously, they just offer native stocks, but this isn't even tokenization at the moment. This is just perpetuals, um, right? That's not even the tokenization. At some point, they're going to unify international clients and American clients under the same roof. Obviously, not the same corporate roof, but they're going to be utilizing just tokenized equities, basically. So,
So who's going to like orchestrate that then? Is that more of like a US orchestration sort of coming underneath that sort of overall system?
yeah, definitely, they're the ones that would benefit the most from it. And so, like what you're seeing now, like there's companies out there like I don't even know how to pronounce it. Ondo, that basically is a third party company that basically tokenizes equities and different assets and then basically offers a platform for people to trade them and tokenized. Like that's the first step. And what you're probably going to see maybe is like a partnership with Coinbase or something where you start to be able to trade those assets on Coinbase or you have that capability on Coinbase. But eventually the end game, probably 10 years out, maybe a little bit more, is like the NASDAQ, like the actual stock exchanges are going to be tokenized. Like you're not going to be able to buy a share of Tesla that's not tokenized, right? Now, whether or not you have access to move that wherever you want, that's a different question, or what are the rails of the private system that they want to implement? That's a different question, but it's going to be tokenized, right? And that opens up just like fractional share ownership, right? Where you can own point 0.1 or 0.001 of a share of Berkshire Hathaway if you want, right? There's legitimate reasons why you would want that. It lowers the barrier to entry to own certain stocks, yada, yada, yada. I'm pretty sure all you poor fuck can't even own a share of Berkshire Hathaway, right? So, but if you like good old almost dead Warren, you could buy a .01 shares of Berkshire Hathaway or .001, right? That makes sense, right? And especially even globally, people that want to own stocks globally now they're probably going to have a massive conduit to do so, right? Like this is all like if you look at this from like a geopolitical lens, like it's basically financial warfare, because you basically you literally demonetize all your adversaries stock markets, right? Stable coins are doing that for sovereign debt and sovereign fiat currencies where if you can have a US dollar via stable coin, in like fucking, let's say, Peru, you can now have that where before you couldn't. You had to use the shitty Peruvian currency, right? But now you just need a fucking phone and an internet connection. And now you've just created realistically a treasury buyer in another country that the central banks cannot stop via capital controls because all you need is a fucking internet connection. And so you demonetize all these countries' debt and you basically dollarize them. It like basically it's weaponization of fucking of your currency, which they already do. But now this is a whole different avenue that they can take. Now think about that on the stock perspective, right? If you're a global investor, or even some rickshaw driver in fucking Bangladesh, um, you cannot buy U.S. equities, right? Imagine all the new net buyers of U.S. equities that are going to be created if you can get a rickshaw driver. Obviously, a rickshaw driver in fucking Bangladesh doesn't have a lot of money, but if you just times that by a billion fucking people, like look at India. India is a super fucking poor country, but they're fucking popping out babies faster than fucking anything. And like, look at like this is an analogy, but for example, the most followed YouTube channel on the planet now is fucking Indian dude, right? Because Indian also have massive population and they're finally like not globally but the entire country is coming online. It's like the United States in the 90s where not everyone had an internet connection because everyone in India lives in a fucking mud hut. Well, I don't say everybody, but like the greater population of India in the country, like they never had internet before, but now they're coming online and they're the biggest population growth story other than Africa in the world in the next 10 years. Like if you can say, "Hey, India, do you want a US stable coin? Oh, by the way, you can also use that stable coin to buy Tesla." Like, what do you think is going to happen to the Indian stock market and the Indian ruble? It's going to be extinct, right? And obviously, there comes a point with equities that valuation matters, even though over the last 5 years that really is not true. Valuations are at basically all time highs. Why? Is because there's so much fucking money in the system and there's so much passive buying of US equities. from whether it's endowments, pension funds, 401ks, IRAs, Roths, whatever it is. There's just a massive passive bid on US equities that are just taking them to fucking valuations that we've never fucking seen before. Now slap on fucking 7 billion people globally that need to fucking store their money somewhere. Like I don't know, but like I don't
Well, is it just exit liquidity then for the elite or boomers
no,
that eventually need to cash out at some point? Or
no, it's just a perpetual kicking of the can down the road. Right? Like it's not like it's gonna end. Like what's gonna happen? Like is this just some final event of exit liquidity for the boomers so they can finally die? No, like this is like you're gonna get continued booms and busts, but like it's just gonna continue. Like this is the only way out of where not even just the U.S. but all the governments and all the debt situations. The only way out is inflate your way out. And the thing about printing of dollars, and I know it's not real printing of money, but creation of money, whether that's through QE. Some people don't argue that's not money creation, whether it's the credit impulse in the private banking sector, whether that's the treasury, just pumping money into the economy with deficits. You need an offsetting asset on the side of that liability that's being created, right? Like every dollar that gets created is really a liability, right? It's the liability of the U.S. government, right? That the money is, but realistically, in Keynesian economies, the only way that it ever stops implode or it doesn't implode is if every dollar that you create is that you create at least $1 of valuation of some asset out there. Because if you took all the world's money and wealth and stacked it against all the world's liabilities, it probably comes pretty close to zeroing out, right? And so this is one of my theses about Bitcoin, how it acts as a massive liquidity sponge without affecting directly consumer basket goods, where the money can flow into Bitcoin and basically act as a black hole. And Bitcoin can go to $1 million, $2 million a coin, and it actually doesn't affect anyone's ability to live. Right. Like what has been happening over the last 30, 40, 50, 60 years is they've been continuously printing money, and it's mostly been going into real estate. Like that's literally been the real estate bubble since the 1970s. And the problem you have with that is real estate can only go in so much in value until no one can actually afford it. And then you create like conditions in your country where it gets to be very disruptive. And that's where we're at now. And so now they need another liquidity sponge to basically fucking soak up all the money that they're printing and about to print. And if it goes into Bitcoin, well, that doesn't affect anyone's ability to live. It doesn't increase their rent costs. It doesn't increase their gas costs. It doesn't increase their groceries. It's just this asset that's nebulously out there that continues to go up in value, but it doesn't affect any of the plebeians' ability to live, right? So that's the whole thesis with Bitcoin. But going back to central banks creating debt, they need an asset to offset that. So like this Ponzi's going on. It's not gonna fucking stop. Like, is it gonna continue forever? And well, I don't want to say forever, but it's gonna continue for a while.
yeah, I have a feeling just on that Bitcoin thesis that I guess all new money credit will tend to flow towards equities rather than Bitcoin itself. Yeah, I have a hard time seeing governments kind of relinquish the control that they have and sort of
Well, I
pump
think governments
Bitcoin to
I
Valhalla.
think governments have a naive view on Bitcoin where they can think, or they do think that they can use it for the purpose that I just said, in which they are, it very much looks like what they're trying to do. Um, but politicians only care about the next election, right? And they're not looking at the end game of what that actually looks like. Like, let's say Bitcoin is used for that liquidity sponge over the next 50 years, and Bitcoin balloons to be like a 200, $300 trillion asset over the next 50 years, which would put, I think, Bitcoin roughly at, uh, I think it would be like close to $5 million ish a coin, $5 to $5 million a coin. Um, the problem that you get is they need to create a structure where actual American citizens don't actually use Bitcoin. And that's what the whole idea of ETFs and MSTR is, right? Because if Bitcoin was just used as stated and it's a bearer asset that every American's actually using on the rails of Bitcoin or some semi decentralized L2, that starts to becoming a massive problem for governments and their ability to control a runaway train, right? But if you basically wall garden it and you put all ownership around ETF wrappers and other retarded wrappers like MSTR, and people don't actually own or control the Bitcoin, it doesn't really become that difficult to just continue to grow the asset, but just no one actually fucking uses it to transact, right? Because that's where things get very hard for the government to stop. And that's I don't know if I've ever said this publicly, but I believe that I don't want to say call it the future, but I'll call it the future for lack of a better word. The future of Bitcoin is not inside the United States. The United States is probably the number one proponent of kicking off the monetization wave of Bitcoin. But in 50 years, when Bitcoin is like $5 million a coin and American citizens and entities account for like 20 to 30% of ownership of all Bitcoin, 95 plus percent of that is going to be in trusted third party ownership, whether that's through MSTR or some ETF wrapper, or even if someone has it at a custodian and they don't have it in self custody, right? And it's going to be 95 to 99% of American ownership is going to be through a trusted third party wrapper. Um, you're not going to have decentralized trust or even any risk of them losing the plot at that point, because if it gets bad enough, it's pretty easy to fucking freeze. And so my thesis is that realistically, the US being the most powerful and obviously the current hegemony in the world, they're going to be able to stop Bitcoin from being transacted in any meaningful way with inside their jurisdictions. But the same damage that they are using Bitcoin for right now to undermine and attack other central bank currencies and debt globally, whether it's China, Russia, global south, where they're basically just going to use stable coins to basically disrupt their currencies and basically destroy those nations' ability to have their own single monetary policy, that is going to leave the field rife and open for Bitcoin to actually thrive more in a peer to peer fashion than it would in the United States. So I think the United States is thinking very short term and they're going to monetize the fuck out of Bitcoin and then create walled gardens. But then people globally are going to start using it in a more peer to peer fashion, opposed to Americans. Um, and it's going to basically proliferate globally before it even touches the United States in terms of like a transactional. I don't want to call it a currency, but it's going to proliferate everywhere before it happens in the United States. Obviously, that whole thesis is probably something that plays out over the next probably 80 years, 80 to 90 years. Like I'll probably be dead. Everyone in this room will probably be dead. Um, but yeah, like even if you move any Bitcoin in the United States right now, you're basically liable for travel rules. Like you have to tell them who you're sending it to, what they do, blah blah blah. Like that's not Bitcoin. That's literally like
Yeah, well, so then, like, realistically, then, how is Bitcoin going to become $5 million a coin? Is it because they've just printed money to the absolute fucking shit house
yeah.
and it's worth nothing globally, and that's why, or because people actually want it and they want to hold it for its
Yes.
unique.
Yes, both.
Um,
Both. 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 Like I don't know like about you guys, but I don't know if you guys look at the U.S. government's unfunded liabilities. Like they're over like $100 trillion over the next like 70 years. Like they're going to print hundreds of trillions of dollars. Right, like there's no if, ands, or buts about that. Like they're printing hundreds of trillions of dollars, right? What's the value of a dollar? That's another story, right? Um, but even like when I'm talking about $5 million of Bitcoin, I'm talking about into like today's value, right? If they really just like fuck the pooch and just continue to like absolutely debase the fuck out, like you could see Bitcoin being $10 million, $20 million. Like it sounds retarded to say that because if you're looking at today, it's at 80,000. But like people really highly underestimate how much money they're going to have to create over the next 70, 80 years. And like humans are not really good at thinking that long term because it's like even realistically outside of like their entire life scope. And like just go back 70 years. Like just go back to like what would it be like 1955 or whatever the fuck it is. And then the 1950s, and think about what things cost in the 1950s, right? And then now look at it. Okay, well now look at that, and then now what do you think things are going to look like in 70 years? What do you think? What do you think shit's going to look like in 2100? Like, like is things are going to be retardedly expensive, like in terms of like a notional like number value, where it might get so retarded even in U.S. dollars by 2100 that they just start hacking numbers off currencies, being like, "Oh, this was 100,000 and this was $10,000. Now it's $10." I'm not even kidding. Like that's something that's theoretically probably likely to happen in 100 years from now. Is that the numbers are just going to not make sense? It's like why are we telling us ourselves that this loaf of bread cost $1,000 in the year 2100? Well, let's just make it a dollar again. Okay, how do we do that? We just cut off three zeros. That's what they do everywhere. They've done this throughout history, right? Like first it kind of really formulated with like coin clipping and shit and just the debasement of like the precious metals within a coin is how it originally started. And then if you go to fiat currencies, like anywhere, they just start hacking zeros off of it. Right? Like literally.
Well, I think in the same vein, it's going to happen with Bitcoin as well when you go to sell it and all your capital gains that you've made. And just like they've made changes to the capital gains system here in Australia, they're going to take their share and their clip off it as well. So like I feel like we're kind of fucked either way.
Well, yeah, that's what I keep fucking telling people. It's like Americans haven't they've been done dirty so bad. They have the good, I don't want to call it good, but they are the center of the hegemony. So they get the money before anyone else does, and they get it before inflation kicks in, or at least to the lower degree. By the time the money gets anywhere else globally, the inflation's is even worse. With all the handouts in the United States. But the problem is if you're like semi wealthy and you don't get handouts, like you're just getting run over with a truck over and over and over again, and you can't even like move anywhere to try to get away from it because they US you get taxed globally. So it's like, oh yeah, I just moved to let's just Venezuela where there's no capital gains, or Colombia, there's no capital gains. Like, well, it doesn't matter. You're an American citizen. You got to pay U.S. tax. So you're like, ah, fuck. I'm fucking living beside fucking Joe Schmo, or should I? Maybe it's Jose Schmoze. And I still have to pay my fucking capital gains to Big Uncle Sam, right? Unless you like forego and give your passport up, right? You're kind of fucked for the most part. Like that's the problem with like, and that's part of the reason why they're creating these ETF structures and these MSTR structures. They don't want you to own Bitcoin directly. They really don't. Because as soon as you own Bitcoin directly, it becomes immensely, almost impossible at scale for them to basically figure out like if you're using Bitcoin transactionally and to try to figure out like how much you owe them for like capital gains.
Who
Like
specifically do you think is manipulating Bitcoin right now?
who do I think is manipulating Bitcoin? The US. I have my thesis, or not thesis, I would say.
Bank wise.
Oh, bank wise? No, none of the banks. I don't think it's the banks. at the moment. I don't think they're manipulating it lower. I think I have two ongoing thoughts at the moment. One, people still underestimate how damaging 1010 was. Um, and it's been really hush hush, but I have, let's just say, well, I know a lot of people in the space, and then I have some connections at some of the firms. Um, and on 1010, people got fully liquidated, like fully liquidated. There's nobody left with any money that was into crypto that can buy crypto right now. Like that's how bad people got liquidated. So all your fucking traders and everyone trying to make money. So the biggest like wave of this cycle was basically perpetuals. And on top of that, 99% of people were utilizing cross margin. And so people weren't even buying spot bags anymore. Like even with shit coins, like people weren't buying spot poo poo coin, right? They were literally buying perpetuals and going long, probably adding leverage to probably even retarded amounts of leverage. And they were using cross margin, right? And they were the biggest regret was them basically having their Bitcoin bag or their Bitcoin long cross margin as well. And so on 1010, when you had this glitch, air quote glitch on Binance, which created a DPEG and a stable coin, and then it created liquidations on a specific pair, and then all went cascading downhill fast. People got fully liquidated. Like their entire portfolio was in perpetuals, cross margin, and one position, like some of these perpetuals, like even on Coinbase, went no bid. Like their order book disappeared, like literally disappeared. There is no liquidity on any of these, and they literally wicked down like 50 to 70% in a 1 minute tick, like literally instantly. Market makers fled, and these things went no bid, and all of these things basically wicked down 50, 60%. That triggered all this cross margin and cross leverage bullshit to basically liquidate people's positions. And as soon as it liquidates one position, cross margin is liquidating all of them because you're sharing margin.
Cascade.
Yeah,
Who made out then? Who made out with it? Who made out with the bag?
all the market makers. All the market makers basically ran away. They're like, "Oh fuck, this shit's going crazy. We got to fucking get the fuck out of here." Like that, and that's it. So all of these people, anyone that was long, which was the entire market directionally, right? The market directionally was so long, right? And then everyone got fucking fully wiped out. And so everyone now is like, why isn't anyone bidding any of these shit coins or even Bitcoin up? Well, like all the fucking retail morons got fucking completely fucking liquidated. Like literally everyone got fully liquidated, and no one, you're not going to see this publicly because none of these people are going to come out and tell you that they're literally completely poor now. All these Twitter trading gurus and all these Twitter people, like they're not going to come out like, yeah guys, I lost everything on 1010. Like no, they're going to pretend that never happened and continue to post charts and videos pretending that like they still have money, but they literally were probably managing a portfolio of like $5 million. And now it's literally probably $12. Like that
Are you talking about Preston Pish?
No,
no,
it's actually $400. 400.
yeah, 400. So that that's what happened to him. It sounds like it happened to you, buddy, full throttle. But I don't know what happened to
Hey,
Preston. He
it
had his own thing,
happens.
but
It happens, bro. It
yeah, and so
happens.
that's one aspect of it. And I think another aspect is that crypto is kind of a tainted asset at the moment because of Trump's association. Um, like you look at crypto and basically like Trump is basically stealing and robbing people like as plain as day as he possibly can. So people are like, why the fuck would I want to invest in this? So like any serious money is not really coming into the space right now because everyone's looking at like the fucking AI boom right now. Everyone's like, why the fuck would I put money in crypto if I can put money in energy infrastructure, memory, data centers, the hyperscalers, the underlying AI companies, all the money, like the circular money in the economy right now that's being handed over from one super scaler to the next chip manufacturer. They're all fucking jerking each other off with the same fucking money, and it's just getting used and used over and over and over and over again. It's like, oh,
Wars.
we just gave $10 billion to Nvidia for chips, right? Oh, we're Nvidia's giving $10 billion and investing it right back into fucking Anthropics. It's like, wait a minute. Wait a minute. And then Anthropics then goes use that money and and basically spends it on Amazon compute. Right. Okay. Now we take this bin 10 billion and give it to Amazon. And Amazon's like, oh, you know what? I'm going to invest $10 billion into Anthropics, and it goes right back to Anthropic. So all that money is just getting washed through all of these, like look at the capex spend in the U.S. right now in the AI infrastructure build out. Like it's retarded. If it wasn't for the AI capex spending, we'd be in a recession right now, like a full blown recession. But they're just spending tens of, or not tens, hundreds of billions of dollars, if not $1 trillion this year, for not just capex spend, but just like the overall AI infrastructure and AI build out. So that's what's keeping the equities afloat, right? And people's passive bid are just bidding these fucking things up. And so what people are looking at that and they're like, why the fuck would I invest in crypto right now? Like it's so the momentum is dead. Like you just literally had QQQ like go up 25% in like fucking 14, 15, 20 trading days, and Bitcoin like literally fucking barely even moved, right? Like it's just fucking dead. No one wants to put money in it. They're like, I'm gonna put it somewhere else, which is unfortunate, but like that's just the case. I don't know what it's gonna take for the momentum to finally side over to Bitcoin, but like what's the biggest next event that's gonna happen? Clarity might not get passed by the looks of it until like sometime in mid July, and before that happens, you're going to have SpaceX IPO. Do you think anyone is going to be putting money in crypto when the SpaceX IPO is going to happen? If anything, people are going to sell crypto so they can invest in the SpaceX IPO, right? Like that's where all the money and the eyeballs are currently.
Well, seriously, like what is the precipitating event for people to actually invest in Bitcoin anymore? Because there's no narratives that haven't been destroyed, and I can't see any that are on the horizon besides fucking AI agents trading Bitcoin and creating companies and all that kind of fucking cope.
I don't even know. Like the funniest part is all the Bitcoin mining companies are pivoting to AI. Like it's actually hilarious, right? Like, and they're raising retarded amounts of money and saying they're gonna now be AI hyperscalers, right? So there
This is so great. This
no,
is so great.
yeah. So there's no interest in Bitcoin at all right now. I think uh, depending on what happens in the equity market, there might be interest in Bitcoin. Um, Maybe going into the midterms. But we'll see, right? Because apparently we're gonna get clarity passed in July, hopefully, and then maybe serious money might start putting money into Bitcoin. So we'll see, but I don't see the only other bullish catalyst is you have your usual suspects like David fucking Bailey telling you to buckle up before he fucking takes NACA stock down another 99%. Buckle up, the strategic Bitcoin reserve is coming. Oh, it's coming. It's coming. It's gonna happen, and they're gonna announce it any moment now. And oh, they announced it, and it's gone. And then the story broke, and like the Bitcoin price didn't even move. Like it didn't move an iota. Like and then
They're even calling for all-time highs before the end of the year, and we haven't even hit the bottom yet. They're retarded.
bro, Naka stock still needs to do a 50-to-1 reverse split. So I don't know what to tell you, but it's not looking good, boys. We couldn't even crack that 200-day moving average. So nothing unless like the Bitcoin strategic reserve um news is actually meaningful, which I don't think it will be. Um, I don't know what the catalyst is, to be honest with you. I don't know
Catalyst
at the
will
Well,
just
moment.
be
Bitcoin
an extreme
continues
There
to
washout.
should
hit
be
more
a pullback.
milestones, right? It's now being used in open war and sanctions. So it's
Well,
further proving its utility. And just because a bunch of kids in India and Africa get CBDCs all of a sudden and can swap it with Bitcoin isn't going to run the value up either, but it's going to be another milestone that's like near future coming, and the access for people is going to get a lot easier around the world. um, the rails are going to become a lot faster. The stop checks are going to go away. All that's going to happen regardless of the price. It'll catch back up.
I think access gets harder, not easier, with the deployment of all these fucking CBDCs and shit.
I
No,
think
because you're already digital. You just swap it.
yeah, man, I'm
Is
gonna
this
fucking
the CEO of Black Swan over here?
It's
yeah. It's a
no.
CEO.
It's fucking. It's pretty clear to me, right? They want to push paper products, and these and they're gonna push these fucking stable coins and shit like that, but not like spot Bitcoin.
No, they
Is
don't.
the low always not a year after the high? Is that changed this cycle all of a sudden? I mean, we should be low in October, right?
Yeah. So October, November. The
That's why it won't. That's why it won't happen.
yeah.
Everyone's like,
I bought a
everyone's just
chunk
like,
back in Magoo after our last conversation with Maddie C. I was like, oh, you motherfuckers, I'm bullish again. I
You retards. It's
what?
definitely happening.
I didn't I
What do you
didn't
mean?
I didn't put all my cash in. I put like a chunk of it back in. So now it's like I'm probably like a third still in cash. But yeah.
Why the fuck do you do the opposite? I literally told you to sell.
The
Yeah, we just sold at 81. What
did
are you doing?
did you watch the Gamers Nexus fucking coverage of like Nvidia's fucking the bullshit they're doing with like CoreWeave, like funneling the money through CoreWeave, who then buys Nvidia GPUs, who then gives
Yeah.
money
It's
back
just a
to
fucking. It's
CoreWeave and
just a.
Nvidia.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah. But I literally told well, I didn't tell you specifically, but I tweeted out like 7 days or 5 days ago. I said sell in May and go away. As soon as we bounced off that 200-day moving average, I'm like, okay, time to sell. And so far I've been right on that call. Down whatever we're at now, 76. I don't think anything meaningful is going to happen at all. I think it's summertime. Sell in May and go away. I would suspect that the next likely uptrend would probably end of August, early September, going
Yeah,
into
July,
October.
August. Yeah.
Yeah.
I reckon
Um,
we may not get much lower though. That's the thing. Like around that 60K levels, we could just sort of
We
like
could go to
retest.
35, Swan.
I know we
We could go
could.
to 35. It's statistically
no,
insane.
the only reason why I don't think we're going to make a new low is because I think the entire U.S. Ponzi that's currently going on will not be able to happen unless SpaceX, Anthropics, and OpenAI are able to basically get out in an IPO and raise the money that they need to be able to weather what is eventually going to be called the AI bust. For them to be able to survive that and have enough capital on their balance sheets to make it through the AI bust. So I think you're going to have SpaceX coming out probably in June. And there'll probably be another all-time high in equities in June, to be honest with you, if SpaceX goes out in June. Um, and then Anthropics is probably going to be the next one to go out. That I have a feeling that they're probably going to want to go out not in September. September's like one of the worst months for IPOs, I think. But they're going to want to go out fairly soon as well. And then OpenAI needs to fucking get out too, because I honestly think if maybe not so much Anthropic and SpaceX. SpaceX has a lot of like revenue avenues now with like they're consolidating. Like what the fuck happened to antitrust? Like I don't know how old you guys are, but in the 90s, like if
No
any
shit, man.
if
Splitting
any
up Google.
yeah,
I'm old.
if any company had
I'm
any like
38 years
any
old.
any lines of business that weren't the same, they would like the US government hit them with antitrust. Now look at SpaceX. It's like every company known to mankind now they're consolidating and they're talking about consolidating Tesla too. Like I don't know where the antitrust is, but like if any company needs to get split up, it's that. But they're not. They're consolidating power under one roof, right? But And Anthropic's runs a fairly decent ship, but OpenAI, like they need to go public so that they could fucking get money, or else they're gonna go bankrupt. Like I honestly think like if OpenAI doesn't go public in the next like 12 months, there's a very high chance that they go bankrupt.
Everyone's using fucking
Fuck
Claude, man. Like everyone
OpenAI.
uses Anthropic, right?
Fuck
Like
OpenAI.
how many people are even using OpenAI for fucking productive use cases? Very
No,
few.
people are
I'd
going
say
on there and
no.
they're being like, "Oh, can you create this image of Corey Klippenstein like crying because you just went bankrupt? Create me that image." That's what they're using it for, right? Whereas Chad's like HODLMagoo is going on Claude and being like, "Oh, create me a decentralized, tokenized equities platform and make no mistakes." No, I'm just fucking kidding. No, but like, yeah,
Oh la la.
people are
Magoo, are we
people.
not assuming that there's some bottom here coming?
Yeah,
Like
it's
they're
your
gonna
mom,
rug everybody,
your
give everything
mom.
nice and cheap. Trump can't keep getting away with it, can he?
Oh
Didn't he
yeah,
just
he is.
didn't he just settle with the fucking IRS as well so that like neither him nor his family can be
Hey,
He
investigated?
can't
that's
keep
like
getting away with it, guys. Come on.
I don't know if like you need any bigger of a sign that like the empire is falling other than that news story, which is fucking insane. So the settlement is like $1.8 billion slush fund to give to all Trump's cronies, and Trump and his kids can no longer ever for the eternity of time be audited by the IRS. What the fuck? Do you know how much crime is going on right now with the Trump and the Trump family? Like it is unfucking believable. Whether it's the
Keep paying taxes.
yeah, definitely
Keep
not.
paying taxes.
Whether it's the $500 million that was invested into World Liberty Financial from like a sheik in like UAE, whether it was a $400 million plane given to them, like and miraculously Trump lifted like sanctions on like Nvidia chips. Like there's
Yeah,
so
chips to
much shit.
China. Yeah.
It's so fucked, man. Like the amount of
And they
crime.
have heavily defunded the IRS. Just if anyone's wondering how this affects you listening, they've heavily defunded the IRS. Oh, so there's lying and cheating in front of your eyes. So do what you will with your tax return,
Yeah,
I
I
guess.
feel bad. I feel bad for Americans, to be honest with you. Like you guys are just getting fucking raked over the coals. Like open in front of your eyes, massive crime to scale it's never been done for before in front of your faces, and you're sitting there being like told that you have to pay all this tax to the IRS. It's depressing. I'm glad it's not me.
It's like proper Soviet era, like fucking what do you call it? Like fucking chicanery, basically.
Oh, it's cronyism. That's what it is, right? Like, I don't know. Like, it's funny to me. Like, you have like your full blown like socialist. You even have some full blown commies that their like talking points are like capitalism doesn't work, right? Like that's their talking point. And the most ironic thing is like they think that they're living in a capitalistic country.
Yeah,
And what I
exactly.
mean by that is
Yeah, yeah.
in the states, they're like, oh, this is capitalism. Like this is so bad. We need to enact socialism. It's like, no, you need to pull your head out of your ass and realize this isn't capitalism. Like, yes, you're being done dirty, miss. I have pink hair and fucking literally Black and Decker appendage is all throughout my face. Like, yeah, you are being done dirty by the U.S. government, but it's not capitalism. It's literally cronyism. Like that's the problem. It's not capitalism in itself. It's cronyism. Like it's unbelievable. Like I don't want to say I feel for the him hers and the he she pronoun people. Like they are truly getting fucked. But like it's not how they think they're getting fucked, right? Like they sit there and they're being like, it's the billionaires' fault. If it just wasn't for those billionaires, we would be way better off. And it's like,
Yeah.
It's also a
it's like no.
state-directed economy, right? Like all of the funding that
We
goes
get it.
into like
We get it, bro.
SpaceX for like
Trust me.
Starshield and all the fucking NASA launches and shit, right? It's state-directed funding, and like to a point where like there's parts of China which are like proper unbridled capitalism, right? Which are like far more capitalistic than like fucking the West is today.
So Magoo, you mentioned PayPal last time I heard you. You're talking about the cronies. Larry just got a hold of the TikTok algorithm. He's making a play for CNN. Are you buying Oracle yet?
Oh no, those fucks are in so much debt. Oh my god, fuck. It's saying they're retarded. They're retarded. You find it funny that Trump's air quote blind trust buys a bunch of Dell shares, and then a couple days later, Trump tweets out buy a Dell. Like, what the fuck are we doing here, guys? Like, I like that. If that's your president, like, regardless of what you think of his policies, like, it is so plain as day that the only thing he's concerned about is putting money in his pocket right now. Like, he couldn't give a fuck about the American people. And I'm not saying the Democrats do. The Democrats clearly fucking don't. Like, Trump is just way better at grifting than Democrats. Like, the Democrats wish they could make that amount of money with cronyism. They're just too retarded to. But like, Trump and what he's doing is just, it's just so fucking bad. Like,
It's so overt, right? It's just it's all there in fucking public for everyone to see. That's what makes it like worse, right? Is it's
yeah,
like
yeah, it went from
And it's
like
a master class.
it
He's
is.
literally all of you. None of you should be mad. You should all be taking notes and paying very good attention and figuring out how you can get on the inside right now. Because obviously you can get on the inside right now. That's the thing that lots of companies are doing. So I mean, pay attention.
Yeah, you got to
Don't
pay.
have
You got to
feelings about
donate
it.
to that ballroom. You got to donate
Yeah,
to that
yeah.
ballroom,
You
right?
should be in the ballroom, guys. Come on. You
But
think
this is,
Dennis Porter's getting anything done? He's not going to be in the ballroom.
yeah, bro. He's gonna get. Yeah, no kidding. But like I can say this stuff fairly non-emotionally because I'm not an American. That like I can laugh at the situation being like, yes, this guy is like performing open law broad daylight robbery. I couldn't imagine how mad I'd be if like I was sitting in America fucking paying
some
fucking
mid-level
taxes to
job
the
paying for
yeah, some
yeah.
mid-level like $120,000 mid management job and paying like $50,000 in tax and then going and looking at the gas pump because Trump wanted to fucking bomb Iran because some fucking small hat person wanted him to bomb it, and now I have to pay $4 to $6 a gallon. Like, I would be losing my absolutely living mind if that was the case. Like, but luckily, that's not me, dog. That's not me.
Be
Um,
growing vegetables angrily.
yeah, I'd be growing my fucking cucumbers and aloe plants just fucking full out
Fuck you,
anger.
government. I got cucumber back here, motherfucker.
Yeah, exactly. But like,
Well,
yeah, these fucking people that are paying tax to the
yeah.
government while you're just getting fucking fleeced, 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 absolutely fleeced, and all of Trump's family and all his friends are just making out like bandits. Like I tweeted this out today. Like I don't even. I'm not even doing this for like engagement. Like I truly actually think that like this is the biggest broad daylight, largest robbery like in human history in the world's wealth and power that's being concentrated. Like even just like whittling it down to like one specific instance of like SpaceX, like there is a 0% chance that in the 90s or the 80s or the 70s or the 60s or any time before, even pre GFC, that in the entire history of American history, going back to the 1700s, um, that they would allow a single company like SpaceX to exist.
Even more recently, remember they were talking about like divesting like Google, oh not
I
divesting,
think that was pre.
but
I think that was pre GFC though.
no, when they're
Was it
talking about
not?
Yahoo and Chrome and like moving, sorry, not Yahoo, YouTube. That was thinking about
Yeah, but
spinning
now,
YouTube out to a separate
now
business.
you have SpaceX, the rocket maker. You have that's space travel. You have XAI, which is Gronk and all the AI company. You have X, which is the biggest social media platform on the planet, in my opinion. And you're gonna have Tesla on board. You're gonna have the Boring Company. You're gonna have Starlink.
Robotics.
You're gonna have all those companies under one thing. Like what the
And
fuck?
now he's building silicon fabs as well, right? Like I think that they're just like announced that they're going into silicon manufacturing.
Yeah, it's only gonna, to me, in my opinion, it's only gonna accelerate the hatred for the billionaire class. Like, even though I truly think that that's fundamentally misplaced, because the ultimate argument is like, so if you're like a purple haired fucking gypsy liberal, and you look at the situation, you're like, well, billionaires are the problem. The concentration of wealth is the problem. Capitalism is the problem. And you come up over the top and like, how do we solve this? Well, the only thing that you can do is to use the government as a weapon to punish those people, whether it's in the form of some socialist policy or tax policy or whatever it is. But that makes the government bigger, right? Where the true underlying problem is the size of the government. And so you're just making the problem bigger. But you're the only thing that changes is now you think you're in control of the government's big bad weapons and you're going to go after your enemies, right? That's all it is. But that eventually blows up in your face as well, right? So it's
It
not like,
reminds me of Atlas Shrugged, man. It's like, you know, like the losers in Atlas Shrugged that come to like,
yeah.
as society collapses, right? They fucking just come to take everything, and that's what's happening like today.
We're primed hot in America. Like, people really have to be careful in the next few months not to fall victim to
So society is collapsing. I'm coming for all of you.
Yeah,
there's
I already left, dog. Like the writing on the wall for me has been there for over a decade. I left over 10 years ago now.
Yeah,
Um,
there's several court cases coming up regarding like white on black violence or like some of these like really charged up cases. And depending on how these things go, I mean, you've got like professional musicians and people speaking out for some of these like blatant murders on buses and things. We're primed for like a culture war. I mean, it seems like that's what they want. Also, why are you seeing so much propaganda about ticks? Ask yourself that. Is that real? Or do they just want you to take the vaccine from Pfizer? Think about it.
no, they want you to get bit by a tick so you're allergic to red meat so that we can stop green glasses.
Ah, it's all propaganda. There's no ticks. It's just like that guy in the boat. Same shit. Good girls get vaxxed twice, Magoo. Come on.
Like that, bro. It's how easy it was to Photoshop a fake fax card. Like the barrier to entry. Like people talk about like draconian measures that were put in place in 2020, which they fucking 100% were. But the amount of low effort that people went into resisting is like mind boggling to me. Like you're telling me you didn't even fucking open your computer and buy a pro version of Adobe and just create a Vax card for yourself and try it at least once. Like at least like
You
do
could buy
it.
them on Facebook. You had no
No, not
excuses.
even buying them. Like, just make it yourself, or like take someone who actually got the vaccine and just like edit the name to say yours. Like, and go trial it a few places. Like, go to a restaurant and show them, and then work your way up, and then you basically then go on a plane and use it. And no one. And what you'll start to realize is that all these people that are just doing their jobs at the, let's say, the till or a restaurant or an airport, they don't really truly care. And so you show them your Vax Pass or you show them your card, right? And they just look at it, I'm like, okay, you're good to go. Like, but these people were so lazy they didn't even do that, right? So they didn't really resist all that much. They were like made a big stink about it, but they didn't even actually try to go and do things, right? Like how hard was it? Like, I'm not gonna name names or anything, but like all
There
you
was
had
a lot of flailing during COVID. A
Oh,
lot of people were flailing.
there was a lot of doctors in certain areas of the world that if you just maybe handed them a burrito or something, that they would just write you a legitimate one, right? Like they not like not saying that I definitely did not do that. Definitely did not do that. Would never think about doing something like that. But I heard some stories, and
You
that
mean
they
like the
seem to.
Discord you could go in and do it, where they put you on the list because the person worked there? It
No,
was only
no, you
$10.
actually no,
So
no. I heard
it's
people.
not they
I heard people
crazy, right?
went in person to actual doctors in certain countries and just said, you know what, I am feeling that my wallet's a little heavy and I need to fly tomorrow. Um, and no one really fucking cared, even in the United States. Like I heard stories about people flying into the United States and they were asking for a vaccine proof. And if you show them a vaccine pass from Guatemala, do you think Timbuktu on immigration going into the United States knows what a Guatemalan vaccine passport looks like? right?
Yeah, you're good, but the
Oh, so
digital IDs are going to catch up with most Americans. It's the ocular stuff. It's going to like get Gattaca level where people are going to have to be
Oh no, the only
yeah.
freaking these
Well,
things.
that was testnet. That was just testnet. What they just ran with that.
Yeah, that was the
And
first
yeah, I
phase
mean,
for sure.
I had nurses. I had a nurse in town here that would just had had real cards that would just write them out for $25.
bro, that's desperate, bro. She could have fucking charged 2,500. That bitch don't know no
Yeah, but
business.
I mean, they're anti-vaxxer people up here already in NorCal. So it's just like they were just like because it was mainly about getting your kids not to have to get vaccines for school.
My question
That's
is,
where it mainly spread through.
when are you North Cal motherfuckers gonna take your state back? Like last time
Yeah,
you guys
well,
last time you guys had any say in California was like the fucking early '90s, and you
It's
guys
so bad. It's
gave it
so
away.
bad there.
yeah. Well, I mean, NorCal, all we have to do is just keep holding up here, in the mountains. We're not going to come down to LA and take over LA.
Where they just
No,
steal all your
that's
taxes
a
for data
lame
centers and
that's a
shit.
lame answer.
Yeah,
Oh no,
Jedi,
that's right. I mean, we're not. The militias are up here. They're not down. They're not in Southern California.
get them, boys. It's true though. It is kind of shocking how different North Cal is to like LA. Like you go to just any Democrat run city in South Cali, and then you go to North Cal, it's like, is this the same? You don't even ask if this is the same state. You ask me, like, is this the same country?
It's a home of the redneck hippie.
No
So
kidding, right? It's fucking Jedi and fucking physical Bitcoins living in bunkers in North Cal in the mountains.
I grew up in NorCal and SoCal, so I know how it is out there.
Yeah, that was a test run though. Next time they have the next pandemic, air quotes, is gonna be you're gonna have digital IDs.
Yeah, you
and
guys
that's why
better start.
you have to be in Mendocino, which is the Afghanistan of California. It's the largest county. It's very mountainous.
You
For
want to
those
start
reasons,
filing for
I am
documents
in.
with like your full name and like your half name and your short name. Get as many different IDs with as many different names on them as you can. Start now. Government's workers are dumb.
Even
Start
not even
checking boxes.
honestly, not even different names.
You have to
Like
start
Know
signing
every
your second
bird
and
in the
third
city
identities
by his
now.
bird call and his
If
bird name.
you're not,
Look,
then you're far
we
You
behind.
should
we
know
need
every
we need
bird
to
in the city
start
by its bird call and
chopping
its bird
down
name.
flock cameras.
You can tell
Okay,
them this is your
Extremely
English name and that's your
Dude,
we need to
Chinese name.
start chopping down
Good guy
flock
has definitely
cameras like
been fucking
in
making
fucking
carrier
Britain.
pigeons. He's
All
been
right.
training them for a while. And you should know every bird in your city by its bird name and its bird call and its bird name.
wow, it's gay.
Fuck hash brown. All right.
So yeah,
I don't
folks, the
know who
hash
this.
brown guy.
I don't know who this kid is.
Um, so Jedi, do you find it pretty hilarious that Swan's getting sued?
Honestly, you're telling me this now. I didn't know that they're getting sued.
For literally
Can you
not
fill me
losing
in?
money.
Yeah, so Prime Trust Bankruptcy Estate is suing Swan for like a fucking $1 billion.
You
Because
have to
they
be
pulled out
kidding me.
early. Because they
They're
pulled out
suing
early.
them?
Yeah,
They're wow. Wow, that's how it works though.
yeah, it is. That's
That's literally
bankruptcy
how it
law.
works. Yeah. Yeah, wow.
Yeah,
WOW.
yeah. So realistically, if that even gets like if Swan loses that case in any fashion, they're bankrupt.
Oh god.
Not only are they bankrupt, but the
They get
chances that
clipped.
they're not only that their clients might not have the Bitcoin that they think they have.
Oh.
That it's going to be real interesting to see how that plays out.
Ooh.
Um,
Ooh.
but
Oh, yeah. I mean, they're going to be the first. They're going to get paid first, right?
the
Oh man,
bankruptcy estate is going to get the claim on those assets. Like
Mm-hmm.
this is all unprecedented. So anything can really happen. But like I called this when it was
Look,
happening. I'm like, there's a chance that there's clawbacks, that this estate is going to be basically, they have a fiduciary duty, like the trustees of this bankruptcy have a fiduciary duty to go after anyone that withdrew Bitcoin from Prime Trust leading 90 days up to the closure from the regulators. But even in bankruptcy law, if you can prove that there was fraud, you can claw assets back going back to the very first instance of fraud. And in fucking Prime Trust's
Oh
whole
wow.
history, it looks like their fraud happened as far back as like 2020. But I don't
They
know if
don't
they're
even
gonna.
have to go back for full 90 days
I
though. They're only going
I
back with
I have
76
a
days.
hundred.
Yeah,
I have 100
That blows my
Bitcoin.
mind.
How much is that worth?
$4. But yeah, so now they're going after Swan and Strike for withdrawing assets. And they're claiming, which most certainly they did, they're claiming that they had inside information or non public information about the
Oh,
state of
100%.
100%.
Which came from Prime themselves.
Yeah, which came from Prime and the former owner himself. Like
Yeah.
I posted the fucking timeline back in like 2023 about everything that was happening.
All the developers' money is getting burned.
Holy fuck!
Oh,
How
this is so
long is
good.
this gonna take?
This is Epstein level stuff, you know. It's like sub Epstein. These are sub Epstein programs running, and I love it.
All right, I just pinned it to the nest. It should show up in like 2 seconds, maybe 2 minutes. But and I posted this in June of 2023, and I made it as simple as I possibly could. I basically showed a timeline of everything that happened at Prime Trust. 2020, Prime Trust migrated assets to Firebox. Prime Trust reintroduced legacy wallets in 2021, January. Founder and CEO leaves Prime Trust in August of 2021. Founder and CEO starts Fortress Trust basically 2 months after leaving Prime Trust. Prime Trust claims CEO initiated an unauthorized transfer to Fortress Trust of $17.5 million in October of 2021. Prime Trust discovered, in quotes, that they did not have access to legacy wallets in December of 2021. Prime Trust sells customers fiat to buy crypto they need to process withdrawals, all going through 2022 and 2023. Prime Trust is $83 million in the hole. That was in 2023. And that's when they get closed by regulators. And then in 2023, I said, people who withdrew from Prime Trust in the last 90 days worry about clawbacks tomorrow. And guess what? Today and this week is tomorrow.
Holy
Yeah.
fuck!
And now, and this isn't like some not like me being like fucking Houdini. Like this is just standard bankruptcy law and precedent that like the estate and the trustees have a fiduciary duty to go after these people who withdrew, and that's not even them having insider information. That's just them doing that pre 90 days before. But it's pretty fucking obvious. And if you look at the court documents now, apparently the CEO of Prime Trust, that fucking pervert that literally probably had all the
Steve
orgy parties.
Pearsons.
Yeah,
Pearsons. He
yeah,
had his own sex club in
yeah,
Pervert.
Vegas.
yeah. He had
He
his own
was a
sex club.
pervert.
He literally was neighbors
Yeah.
of Corey, like literal physical neighbors. Neighbors. They
Yeah.
lived beside each other.
Well, yeah. Prime and Swan. Well, no, I think Prime and Swan were in the same business park.
Yeah, they were
Are they
at one
actually?
part.
They're actually neighbors
You're
physically.
not saying those Swan Beach
That's
parties
crazy.
were sick
Yeah,
shit. Were
yeah. Corey was actual physical neighbors with him. So
sexually, I mean.
well, that
Well,
too. But now they're claiming that that they knew that it was going to be shut down, and that's why they. Do you remember they over a long weekend they did that emergency transfer and that emergency notice and letting all Swan customers know that they've moved all their customers' assets away from
of
Prime
course,
Trust?
of course. When they took custody of everybody's Bitcoin,
Yeah, and then moved it to another company's.
the fortress.
Yeah, the Fortress.
Corey reached out to me before he took Prime Trust on, and I pleaded with him. I was like, these guys hold 186 different assets
It's
right
a
now,
CIA.
right?
It's a CIA black hole, dude.
These
CIA
things
black
are.
ops program. That's why I was
It's
like,
his
as soon as
fault,
we
man.
got
He
that
had
close
more
to it, I was
investment.
like, this is spooky. This is really spooky.
There was so many good.
Spoos.
Corey has so many bad tweets now. Let me post this one. This one is probably fucking hilarious.
Well, at least Corey
But
has
Jimmy, how
dual
retarded you have to
citizenship
be
of
to not
Turkey,
understand their life?
so he can always move to Turkey and evade bankruptcy law.
Is he a Turkish citizen?
Well, his wife is Turkish, so I'd imagine he has dual citizenship if he's smart.
All right, just post it to the nest and just take a look at this next one that comes. Fucking like you can't write this stuff better.
Yeah, this is better material than Hollywood's come up with in so long.
Do you see
So
the
they,
do you see the tweet from Corey or the response?
oh no, okay.
Just what in the nest. So someone tweeted at Corey and said, "How exposed is Prime Trust?" And Corey
Mhm.
responded not. They don't reapostolate, don't lend, don't trade.
So he's
Yeah.
wrong. That's literally the service they provided at the time. And
I'm
they
gonna
were
like a
holding
tweet.
186 different fucking assets in the cryptos. Imagine having a portfolio of huge sums of 168 different coins. How do you think that went for them? How do you think it went?
Yeah,
Yeah.
how could you manage that even if it was all going extremely well? Yeah, I'm sure that's
And then
fucking
it didn't go well.
Well, no, what do you mean?
yeah.
It was not going well going back all the way to 2020. So the original hole that started this whole rampant fucking bullshit at Prime Trust was they fucking lost $80 million of Ethereum because they lost the keys to the fucking wallet.
Oh, I forgot that. Yes.
That was the
Again, the
original.
black hole. Another CIA black hole where just money just disappears. A lot of it. I wonder where that went.
Yeah, and it just started this whole. It literally started the whole events of them like trying to get out of that hole that they never could get out of.
Yeah, when you start to
So we
see that they're all like, we got cults involved in this. We got,
so
previous
we should all
cults
be
and,
good Bitcoiners, buy more Bitcoin.
Scientology. You can see why this happens, and then it leads into intelligence
Look.
agencies.
Look, I'm the Colts. Okay, so that's all you need to know. I'm the Colts.
Yeah, but the reality is that like Corey actually comes
No,
from a
no.
financialized cult. He was born into one as a child. That ended up being very pedophilic, and it was called out, well before we, and gone before we ever thought about it.
What was the name of that cult again? I forget.
The Adidam.
Yeah,
Adidam cult.
when I first heard that, I'm like, "What the fuck is this bullshit?" But then I actually started to look into it a bit, and then realized it was a real cult, and then
Very
realized,
real.
he actually was part of it when he was a kid. I was like, "Wait a
Yeah.
minute, this is fucked."
Yeah, he lived at the compound in Lake County, not far from me, and like Adi Dam, his last name is Jones, which lines up with the other Jones that was also like right here, literally right here. But he went to Stanford. He was part of the MK Ultra project. He was part of.
L show, dude.
He was also a
one of the
Scientologist
Joneses.
for a period of time before he started his own cult. I followed the shit all the way down. Like I'm going all the way to Egypt with this shit when I'm studying it, and it's crazy. But I mean, they're pretty much shut down. But he was like, basically, they were trying to merge with Scientology. That's why that whole Pacific Bitcoin conference was mainly Scientologists that they were trying to bring in as businessmen. And when Max Kaiser got up on stage, was like, "Who are all these fucking random people here I've never seen before?" Literally said it. I think, or maybe it was Stacy that said it. And then Max was like, "Shut the fuck up, bitch. This is our money."
Stacy said it.
Right? Yeah.
I could say the same.
Where did she say that?
Okay.
It's at a conference.
At the Pacific Bitcoin conference,
Oh, she said it
the
on the
Swan
mic.
Bitcoin conference there. Yeah, she
Yeah,
said
she
it
was
on
sitting
mic.
on stage and she said it like straightforward, and then like Max kind of like brushed it off.
Who were they? Were they the fucking cult people?
They were Scientologist investors.
Oh my!
Because that's it.
That's
The whole thing was like cultish. She didn't recognize the people. It seemed weird to her enough for her to mention it on stage. Like, who are all you people? I don't see anybody here I know. Is basically what
the
she was
funniest
saying.
part of that whole Bitcoin.
And he stacked that deck
The
for
yeah,
that
the whole
reason.
funniest thing about the Bitcoin Pacific was that it came out that that one dude that was always on Twitter Spaces ended up being like a actual pedophile, like a little bona fide like convicted pedophile of like basically was touching his daughter and his daughter's friends, and he went to
Yeah,
jail.
jail. Peter
Yeah,
Hey,
Ansel.
Magoo.
yeah,
Peter
Peter
Ansel.
Ansel. He went to
Magoo, I
jail
hate to
for it.
interrupt.
Shut up. You're muted. You're
Yeah.
muted. And then basically someone said they actually literally had a fucking pedophile. Like someone, I forget who it was, but someone actually
Yeah.
called it out. You had a fucking
Well, it was Stack Chain themselves called it out, and they called it out through us. They asked for our help to bring it.
Yeah, and then
with
Corey's
TDM.
Corey's
Yeah.
like, no, I don't even know who this person is, and he never speaks. And then someone replied with a picture of him sitting beside Corey on stage. Like,
Yeah, full
Corey,
denial. Just because I'm on stage with people doesn't mean I know them.
yeah, literally was
That's right.
sitting beside him
Look,
on a stage. First of all,
Jedi
he said that
is
this.
Kurt Cobain reincarnated. Okay.
Yeah.
Hey, Magoo.
Don't
If
tell
Sean
anyone.
Kessler comes in here, will you let him up to speak? Basically, he's pretty sad that nobody's joining
No.
his space.
No,
No.
why
The
would you
fuck
do
is
that?
this?
Let him up here.
No, I'm not.
Why?
Let
What are
I'm
you
him
not.
up
doing,
here and
hashtag?
yell.
Shut up,
Stop
Why
putting
are you
dude.
shit
trying to do
stains on his
charity right
face,
now?
bro.
This is bad.
There's no charity.
Yeah,
Dude,
Every
going
time
to the
every time I
streets.
let that fucking hillbilly on stage, he just starts the N bomb all day. Like I don't want to hear that. Or is that physical? Maybe both of them. I don't know.
You're thinking about physical,
they're
but
both
yeah,
just as
Corey's the
retarded. They're
same.
wet brains. You
Yeah,
know.
both of them. They go. They'll start losing it at some point. They won't be able to handle it, and they'll start just yelling.
Yeah, like
That's not good.
I don't mind
Sean
people
Kessler
swearing, but
has a
like if you're
long-standing beef with you, Magoo. He says that
I
when
don't
he
give a
hears you
fuck.
talk, it fries his brain. It makes his
Well then
brain
why do you
hurt.
want to be in my
I
space?
don't know, but he says when he hears you talk, it makes his brain hurt.
I totally forgot about that pedophile speaking at the Pacific Bitcoin
Peter
conference, that
Ansell.
whole
Peter
debacle.
Ansell.
That's
Yeah,
so
and
wild.
it was way worse than you think because like the stack chainers actually had him at their
No,
homes
no,
with
they
their
didn't.
children
No,
and
they
stuff,
didn't.
and they
No,
were
they didn't.
freaking
No, they
out.
didn't.
That's not true.
Maybe
Yes, it
one
is
did.
true.
Yeah, they
What I
did.
thought was
Yeah,
Were
they
you
true
did.
trying to
There's
sell
is
it to
not.
me? It was just a scam?
at least two I know that
Tao
were
did not.
concerned about
You
Tao
were
it.
did
just trying to
not.
scam one investor?
Not
You were
Tao.
all just
I'm
put
not talking about
fodder for
Tao.
the whole
Okay.
thing?
I'm not talking about Tao.
Before
Tao
people
didn't.
thought Tao did, and I asked him, and he said no, but he did.
Mm-mm.
Like
No, but
have a
that's the
steak
reason why one
dinner
of them
at a
contacted
conference
me and
with him
said
or
something
whatever.
about it because I kept saying, "Who is this? Who's doing this? Who's covering this up?" Because it was a girl that somebody was doing it, and I was tenacious about it. I just kept saying, "Hey, look, just fucking tell me, just fucking tell me." I kept saying, "Look, just tell me. I will take it on.
They're not on
I'll
Twitter.
bring this up." You
They're not
know,
on Space.
it took a while,
The,
and
the
one of them
funny
broke and told me.
to me the funniest part, and that's not really funny, but like like the accusation was like undeniable, and then Corey like just comes out and says, "Don't know he wasn't there, and I don't know him." Like just that's just like a standard answer. Like no, that never happened, and I don't know this
I
person.
have no
And
recollection of this.
and then literally like not even looking into it, he just came out and said that, and then he literally was sitting beside him or like next to him on stage, like it is
Like the
fuck.
level of what Ansel did, I don't even know how he got out of prison.
So
Like we're
Yeah,
talking
I
like
I do
actually
animal stuff,
believe
animal related shit. It was
that Corey.
I read the actual case studies or the actual his case files with Ivor, and
yeah
that
there
shit was it
I
was
read
way worse than I thought.
it was
Way
bad
worse.
for like so yes there was some mention of some weird animal related stuff, but like the thing that landed him in jail was his own daughter and her friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he was making porn
Yeah, it's their
videos
friend,
during his
like
sleepover
one
and shit like
family that
that.
was like the closest family with his daughter.
And
Yeah,
it was yeah.
that
But so
he's probably in the space right now.
Magoo, you know what's crazy to me
What?
is that Corey. Yes, probably he doesn't know everybody who is speaking on stage. He's just on a panel, whatever. I'm not saying that Corey should know him and his background just because he's put on a panel. It's the people who work for him that let him down and didn't do that vetting,
Yeah, and that
right?
comes from upper management. Every decision that has happened at Swan, all of the fuck ups has come from their executive mismanagement. Every single one. Like
I
they've had like
honestly believe that Corey didn't know that guy's history,
Yeah,
right? And maybe he was
absolutely.
like I don't know the guy. He probably met him one time on the panel, but the fact is, Swan Bitcoin put Peter Ansell on the panel, right? And so Corey should feel safe that his fucking people who work for him will vet these people, not put him up talking to a pedophile. So I'm gonna try to absolve Corey of knowledge of that, and it's like, it's honestly, it's
that's that's not what we're saying. No one is saying that Corey fucking knew that. Like no, like I
but
hope
he
he
was saying
didn't. But
like I
like
didn't even know the guy, and it's his incompetence, which is why the
Well, it's
people
the
who
way they handled
his
it.
incom
Really,
no
it's the way they
no no, it's not.
it's
Yeah,
his incompetence
all
that led.
all we're saying is they're fucking retards and they let him on stage not doing any background checks. So that's all we're saying. And then the worst part was like the outright denial of like this guy speaking without even doing any moment of like trying to figure out what the fuck is going on. And then someone posting a picture. Like you just look like a fucking idiot, right? And everything like all of these decisions and all of these kerfuffles, like there's so many at Swan. whether it's their customer list getting hacked from a marketing site and people getting doxxed.
Trying to bring Swan Spaces back, Magoo.
Yeah,
Fuck
we
with
want
that.
those. Whether it was their
Yes, we need
whether
them.
it was
We need them.
no, we don't. We do not need them.
Yes.
We do not need them. We do not
There'll
need them.
never be another Swan
Fuck with
Space.
them, Magoo.
I don't know. Well, if they lose this court case, they're probably
Yellow
going.
is bringing Swan back.
They're going bankrupt. So if they lose this case, that's why this case is super
I didn't
interesting.
even
That's
know
why
they were
they're
actually
coming
still
back.
around.
That's why their spaces are
Well,
coming back.
because no one says anything. Like I don't even know how many customers they have or don't have, but their media presence completely disappeared because they don't have money to actually pay retards to market for
Can
them.
we get HODLMagoo to like make a salacious statement about Swan for them to sue him and get a bunch of money and
No,
like the cash cow that he is, money laundering through lawsuits? No, okay, we can't do that anymore. It was a money
no,
run.
no.
There goes the hashtag making accusations.
Yeah.
Yeah, HODLMagoo. He works for Craig Wright.
Cool
That's
it.
why he, of all people, was sued for that because it was a giant laundering of
He's
money.
developing a suing operation so that
I
he can be
highly
the
doubt
person to
it's a
sue
giant
so everyone else can
laundering.
be.
All right,
He's
I
setting,
removed Hash
making
Brown for
case
being a
precedent.
fucking retard.
Thank you very much. He's an idiot.
Yes, he is a big idiot. But yeah, like this case is obviously it's interesting, not even for like the vindication of everything that we said, but like just the interest in it in terms of a precedent standpoint of like how this bankruptcy goes, or these cases go, is actually going to be very interesting to see because it sets a precedent. Um, on basically what would be considered state trust laws and also how these custodians really shake out, right? Remember the funniest thing? Like Corey's number one marketing thing was bankruptcy remote. Like I think he literally probably almost even coined that. Like before anyone else said it in like Bitcoin Twitter, like he was out there shilling bankruptcy remote, bankruptcy remote, bankruptcy remote, bankruptcy remote. That's all he would fucking claim and talk about. And now it's fucking hilarious that apparently it may not actually have been bankruptcy remote, right? Given how the result of this lawsuit really goes. So it's interesting that ways, and it's really interesting is if they do lose, like how does that re how does that do things for Swan? Does that mean that like Swan's customers are going to get their Bitcoin taken away? Right? Like it brings in the whole question. It's like, okay, Swan owes us this much money. Swan has $0 and they have zero Bitcoin. Um, does that bring in that Swan has to file for bankruptcy and that the assets that clients hold at Swan then get pulled into Swan's bankruptcy? Like it's very interesting, right? And it's all different shades because every custodian is different, right? Some of them were state chartered trusts, some of them are OCC chartered banks. They all have different terms of
Yeah.
services that matter a lot as well. Are assets actually in the name entitled for the client, or are they titled under the actual custodian? All like so many nitty picky things determine what would actually happen in a bankruptcy and if it's truly bankruptcy remote. And clearly, the case for Prime Trust is if you actually look at their terms of service, it says right in it that like they can take title of the assets at any time that they want. And that's the approach that the bankruptcy trustees are taking and how they're approaching this lawsuit. So it brings in a lot of knock-on effects because if Swan gets sued and they owe them something, whatever it ends up being, there's no way it could be for the full amount. Like they're suing for like what was it, like 10,000 Bitcoin or something stupid, like some crazy number. I don't know.
Oh,
Like
wild.
it was huge. It was like almost $1 billion, some crazy ass shit. I don't even know. And like, does that automatically just bankrupt Swan, right? And
I
if
mean, it
that
does. It does, but what are they insured somewhere on the other side of that? I
no,
mean, who?
not to that size. No way. They can't be. I know those insurance
Yeah,
policies, not like the back of my hand, but I know how some of these quasi fintech companies operate in terms of like their insurance if anything goes wrong, whether like you fuck up a trade or whether you have a custody hack or you have to have some type of
catastrophic failure. you're
Yeah,
done.
some insurance, but it's not going to be big enough to cover. The policy is not going to be big enough to cover the hole that they would be in, right? So I don't know. It's going to
Yeah.
be interesting to see how that plays out. But like at the end of the day, like Corey's just a lying fucking piece of shit. Like every which way you can possibly imagine, and he's been wrong every which way. Like Corey went on this huge fucking campaign after I said this back in 2023. I'm like, okay, there's definitely a chance that there's clawbacks. Like you don't understand bankruptcy law, Corey. You don't understand the custody rule. And I basically just said this, and he blocked
I
me,
remember that too.
and then went on this whole
Yeah.
tirade of calling me low signal Magoo. Like literally go to Corey's page right now and type in low signal and look for all the times he says Magoo low signal, and it's literally calling me low signal to when I'm talking about this bankruptcy remote bullshit. That's the funniest part. Like it couldn't be funnier.
When you're quoting policy and then he calls it low signal, and you're like, okay, that's
Yeah,
or standard procedure.
yeah,
Like that's okay.
yeah, exactly. Literally, like
It
just
makes
type
you
in.
wonder: are they rewriting in real time? And like we're not privy to this, or what's happening? But apparently not. He's getting wrecked.
Yeah, they just make so many bad decisions. Like it's unbelievable amount of bad decisions that Corey made. He has to take ownership for all of them because he's the fucking CEO. Like he's fucking.
He's going to Turkey. He's moving to Turkey.
Yeah, Swan falls apart. Like I don't know who would ever hire him. Like he went from shilling EOS, the biggest shitcoin scam ICO of all time. He went from shilling that in 2017 to then starting
Brock Pierce stuff.
Swan.
All the Brock Pierce companies.
Yeah, all the Brock Pierce companies.
Yep.
So like I don't know what he's gonna try next. He's like, oh yeah, I gotta
I
start
mean, he
another.
grew up in a sexual cult. I mean, he was. I mean, I'm not going to say he was, but there wasn't that many children in the cult, and they were sexually abused. Let's just say that. Not all, maybe not all, but most.
The whole story, like everything, every little piece of it, it's just so fucked. Like you'd think, all like if you just came into space and didn't know any history and just heard us talking about like, uh, cult, California cult, pedophile on stage, all this other bullshit we're talking about. You come in here and listen, you're like, what the fuck are these retards talking about? There's no way. Like you like these guys are literally just defaming somebody or some company. You like just listen to how outrageous some of these things are, and you start like googling it and you're like, whoa, wait a minute, they're actually telling a pretty accurate story. It's unfortunate, but it is what it is what it is.
Yeah, it sounds like a good movie plot, is what it sounds like.
Someone literally just typed into the space, Gronk, what happened here? Who went bankrupt? Corey is a tool but not a scammer, IMO, without more info. I don't know. You can end up owing the estate in a bankruptcy case without having done nothing wrong. Okay, first of all, you're retarded and don't understand bankruptcy law. And then Gronk responded, uh, Prime Trust went bankrupt in August of 2023. Their estate recently sued Swan Bitcoin, that's Corey's company, for 970 million in Bitcoin slash cash withdrawn days before the filing, alleging insider tip off from Prime Trust exec who also advised Swan. The hashtag or the quote owes apology to HODLMagoo and UD is a meme from Buggle News. Corey said that moves protected customers' funds legally. You're right. Bankruptcy can create claims even without wrongdoing. Case is ongoing. Yeah, that's the whole point. You can have claims without wrongdoing. So the whole fucking thing. Oh, someone. I think somebody searched Corey Losig or Magoo Losego. Oh my god. Yeah. So I don't know. It is what it is. Like they I- and they moved the funds out of Prime Trust because like if they didn't, like I think if they didn't do that, Swan would have not be around today. So they probably
Yeah,
did
of course.
the right thing for their business, but like this is just the
Yeah.
roosters coming home. The chicken's coming home to
Well,
roost.
when they took custody, no one, you know, cried about it because they're like, okay, our funds are SAFU, you know. And
Yeah, but
then
now
now here
now
we
Prime
are.
Trust is coming back for those funds, which is kind of wild. I can't
Yeah,
believe
they're
they're actually
coming back for the funds for somebody that worked with inside their company that leaked the data, which is just themselves. There's not that many of them. There's like less than 10. You know, it
Yeah.
wasn't like Prime Trust was a huge company, you know.
Yeah.
I need that many people there. In my opinion, like I got so close to this thing when we were researching it that I felt like we're like we might get people at my door, you know. That's
You live underground now, so.
yes. A lot of money disappeared and no one asked any questions. That's really crazy.
What's up, boys? Hey, I'm coming in late. You guys covered this, I'm sure, but has there been any public statement or anything from Corey or anybody?
I don't know if Corey made a statement. Did Corey make a statement? He probably shouldn't be. Not on Twitter.
I got a rug warning from Magoo.
You got to reconnect, Magoo. Yeah, but this is crazy that we're here this many years later and now we're about to find out what's going to happen. This is like,
Well, just the what?
you know, we got
Can
soap
you guys hear
opera,
me now?
Bitcoin soap
Yeah, you're
operas.
good, Magoo.
All right.
Yeah,
Twitter's so bad.
you're
I have a
black.
mesh network in my house, and every time I go off one to the next, like Twitter just fucking takes a huge dump.
Magoo, I was asking before you dropped if there was any public statement from Corey or their legal or anybody.
Not that I've seen. Their fucking legal team probably told him to shut the fuck up.
He's actually listening this time
Yeah,
because he's like,
this is the end.
he's going to be a
Yeah,
pauper.
this is the end of Swan. If they lose this case, it's pretty guaranteed that it's the end of fucking Swan. So, and Swan has like no money to like even like settle. So like they have to take it to court because they have no money to even settle. Being like, okay, we'll give you like $10 million. They don't have that money. They're fucking broke.
Yeah, Corey's going to have to go to debtor's prison, you know. That's going to be terrible for Corey. He's very fair-skinned.
Yeah, I told everybody that like if you have any Bitcoin on Swan, like you need to take it off ASAP because like you really want your Bitcoin to potentially be encumbered. Like whether even if you think that there's only 2% chance that Swan loses this suit, like do you really want to put a 2% chance that your Bitcoin gets encumbered and confiscated? Like that's just retarded.
Like, look, Magoo, like with, you know, back in the day, like I know that was an entry point for a lot of people, but given all the other alternatives that people have today, not to mention how many times do people need to see that you just custody the shit? I get it. Some people want to hold it in certain capital types, whatever. But like, do they really even have that much customers' funds?
Well, apparently the lawsuit's claiming that they had $1 billion, that they moved $1 billion out of Prime Trust. So yeah, they clearly had a lot of people's Bitcoin, and I don't know how much they have now, but
So when
Yeah, they're claiming skullfuckery.
when does the campaign
It's going to
start
court.
of people saying that Bitcoin sucks because they got burnt by this instead of fucking listening to custody it?
well, that's been
buddy.
happening forever. But like
What asshole politician is going to make this an example?
none, it's too small. Like I said at the beginning,
That's
said at the
true.
beginning of the case that like this case is a nothing burger in the grand scheme. It's just interesting because of how much like personal stock I have in it because I told everyone this is exactly what was going to happen back when it happened in 2023.
Yeah,
And everyone
great.
told me,
This is not even Elizabeth Warren level
yeah.
stuff.
But
right
like,
now.
yeah, so it looks like that Swan pulled $1 billion worth of Bitcoin in cash out of Prime Trust.
By the way, Magoo, did you see that Corey's got a space scheduled for tomorrow?
Oh, does he?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, it's probably going to be more Corey.
The scheduled
It's
date,
probably going to be him lying.
most likely.
Like it's literally just going to,
Corey lying on Spaces.
yeah, it's literally all it's going to be. It's just him lying, right? About, oh, we have this opinion and everything is fine, yada yada yada. That's the thing. Like companies that are about to go bankrupt, they're not going to tell you that they're about to go bankrupt. They're going to tell you everything's hunky dory. So if Corey comes in that space and if you literally have to have a space about telling people everything's okay, that lets you know everything's not okay.
When you haven't been here in a little year or so for Spaces, like I don't even know the last time he was here.
Oh, I don't know.
I think he's been around, but he has most of us blocked too.
I'm sure he has me blocked, so maybe that's the case. I don't think he's holding Spaces, though. I would still know about that.
Yeah, I don't know, but like, if they have to have a space to tell you that everything's okay, it means everything's not okay.
Yeah, the name of the space, by the way, is called "Get Real: Bitcoin AI News and the After Party." It says I'm on vacation with Emily Dempsey right now, and he's got a space scheduled for tomorrow. Interesting.
Yeah.
Patrick Dempsey? Is that what
Emily.
he said?
Emily Dempsey.
Yeah, if he's on vacation and has to hold a fucking space.
Yep.
Yeah, anytime somebody says that, like, I'm chilling so hard right now, but I'm going to come in and have a space with you guys, it's like getting on the treadmill, and doing his spaces. He's going to try and mog. We just got to show up and just, like, I don't know, shit on him a bunch.
Who the hell is Emily Dempsey? Is that his like Turkish girlfriend?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know who that is. Neps, who's that?
I have no idea.
His wife. He's married to this Turkish lady because he went to get married in Turkey. You remember they were all in white and all that shit? Like he's like married in Turkish bloodline. Oz, can you fucking come up here and tell us what Turkish bloodline he married into over there?
I thought he still had a full head of hair. What is he doing?
Going to get that hair surgery, baby. Yeah, but I don't get. Yeah, I just looked at it now. Set a reminder for Get Real with Emily Dempsey on vacation. I'll be joined by I don't. I have no idea
Yep,
what this
that's the
is.
one. Exactly. I know, isn't that weird? It's a
Five
weird.
people. 5 people liked it. That's
It's weird.
incredibly weird. Like no one pays attention to this fucking loser anymore. He tweets out and gets 7 likes, 10 likes, 12
It's
likes,
quite the art. He
16
went for he
likes,
went from
10
he went
likes.
from Here Comes Corey. Remember the Here Comes Corey meme?
Yeah.
Where it would get likes just for the meme.
Yeah, so
And now
he's
it's quite
literally
the
getting
arc.
like 10 likes. Like, what the fuck? All his followers must be bots.
I don't think the new cohort even knows who he is.
No, because his company's about to fucking go bankrupt by the looks of it. That's hilarious.
Yeah, these are old adversaries they're digging themselves back up from the grave for us to see them die again. For those who are listening,
Yeah, no kidding. I completely like mind blocked the whole Swan thing out of my head, and then I think this lawsuit and just everything came rushing back. I'm trying to remember all this stupid fucking shit. That's wild. That he has told he's on vacation. Everything's okay, guys. I promise we're not gonna lose this lawsuit. Everything's great. Speaking about hair transplants, what's up, Oz?
Good morning, gentlemen. Yes, Corey's wife is Turkish. I don't really know much about the woman, but I am guessing he's got Turkish citizenship. Now, that will
Yep.
give him a great advantage. About a month ago now, Turkish parliament passed a new law. I'm not rich enough to take advantage of it, but what it is, if you take your wealth to Turkey and your foreign income, you won't be paying any tax on that for the next 20 years. So I'm guessing, yeah, he'll take advantage of that somehow.
But the problem is, though, he's an American, so you have to pay American taxes regardless. If you bring your wealth to Turkey, it doesn't matter. You still have to pay American tax.
Would he have to give up his American citizenship for that?
Yeah, but then you have to pay an exit tax if you do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, he'll have to look into it. He'll have to do his own like calculations. I don't know about that, but somehow I'm thinking, yeah, he will take he will take an advantage of that new law in Turkey.
It's
Maybe he's got assets on, I don't know, under his wife's name. Who knows?
his wife,
Exactly.
yeah,
it's not
his
it's not
wife
like
and his
he's going.
father,
It's not like he's
her father,
yeah.
her father is influential in Turkey,
It's
so
not like he's
I'm
going.
sure he's figured it
It's not
out.
like he's going to jail. He's just gonna be a failure. No, take that for what it's worth. Rough go of it in the Bitcoin industry. I just think back to like 2021. Like you couldn't come on this app without there being like probably 2 spaces running at any given time talking about Swan and sponsored by Swan. 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 Oh, Oppression Pish, sponsored by Swan. Lynn Alden, sponsored by Swan. Natalie Brunell, sponsored by Swan. Swan. Everything Swan. But now you go. I don't know. People disappear. I don't know. I don't know if people just realize that there's not
Yep.
a lot of money in this industry. What?
It got really thin out here.
Oh yeah. Like, you know how many people have just think about it. We've only been here for a slice. Like these spaces really didn't start until I think it was 2021, and like all the people that's come and gone through like the Bitcoin ecosystem from like 2020 till now that just like for one reason or another, they just disappeared. There's so many. Like, remember Greg Foss? He fucking blew himself up. He's gone. Apparently, Preston's gone for whatever fucking reason. He's gone. And I don't know. I don't know, man. Everyone just is
Got to
disappearing.
go back to fintech.
No, he didn't even. He went to fintech, but then he just like quit altogether. I don't know what the fuck he's doing. I don't know if he has health issues or what, or if he's just like, fuck, I lost all my money. I don't know, but he's disappeared. And the OG, remember Log Scale? Oh my god, oh fuck, that guy fucking fucked off.
Yeah, he's the one who started it all.
Yeah, pretty.
You know, he's the one who lit the fire under TM.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yep.
There's a lot of people that just dipped.
We started taking a look around us, and we were like, "This shit's all fucking rigged." And it was just like, "This is not as. This is much. You know, people are working around us, and that's started acting accordingly."
Yeah. Then now you have the latest Bitcoin enemy number one, David Bailey.
Yeah, he hasn't been in the space in like a year.
Well,
like in any space, it's just a random
he can't.
space he
I
hasn't
wouldn't be
held for
surprised if
whatever
he's. I
reason.
wouldn't be surprised if he's listening right now. He just can't. Like being like a public company CEO. Like
Yeah, he's
literally,
been advised.
literally everything that you say is like you're liable, and like he has a tendency to get.
Well, now he took over for Geronimo. He can't talk out his mouth, the side of his neck.
Yeah, pretty much.
So he's got to.
He can't.
He's got to. Yeah.
He can't say anything. Because he has a tendency of getting drunk and saying retarded shit anyways. That's even before being a CEO. But now taking the stock down 99%. Oh boy.
What do you
That's
mean, Magoo? What do you mean, Magoo? Like when
Naka.
Bailey spilled the beans about Trump coming to the conference before he fucking mocked everybody, set up his fucking kids and his meme coin for everybody to push. Oh yeah, no mistakes there.
oh yeah, the whole Trump thing is like a fucking farce. Like Trump fucking that whole narrative of like the first Bitcoin administration is an utter joke, really, for the most part. Like it's literally just been Trump putting money in his own pocket. Like realistically, nothing's changed.
Him and his kids.
Nothing's changed for
They
Bitcoin.
800x.
Yeah,
He 800x'd.
yeah.
His kids went from 30 and 40 million to 300 and 400 million. We don't even know what Barron's doing because that nigger's like asleep. Like who knows? He doesn't even. I haven't even heard his voice before. I don't even know that motherfucker can talk.
Yeah, they're protecting him quite advantageously because they're grooming him for president. They don't want him to say anything fucking retarded. Like don't get me wrong, you could be the smartest kid on the planet, but like if you're a 19, 20-year-old, 21-year-old, when you open your mouth, if you open it a lot, you're gonna say retarded shit. And like for me, for example, I'm not 20 and I'm not 12 either. Like the amount of shit that I say, like, am I ever gonna be able to run for president? No, because I'll be on the debate stage, and then the fucking host will play a clip of me ranting at 2 in the morning on Twitter Spaces, being like, "Whoa, Magoo, you said that Netanyahu is fucking killing people,
You're racist.
killing people. What do you think about that? What you know what I mean? So it's just smart.
You're anti-Semitic and you're racist.
Yeah,
So
I'm the
you're
fucking
disqualified.
self-hating Jew, Magoo. Yeah, so they're just grooming him. They're just grooming him to be basically probably a president. Honestly, to be honest with you, but is the guy probably severely autistic? Yeah, just look at him. He looks like a fucking goof. And there's no way that you can't tell me that they genetically modified that motherfucker.
I was going to say the
Yeah,
same
he's
thing.
crossed with
They
the
absolutely
Anunnaki
did.
bloodline.
There's no
He's like
way.
2.5 feet taller than both his parents.
Yeah,
How does that happen?
exactly. Like I guarantee you, if you do a genetic test on him, like there's some weird fucking shit going on there. There's no way. He's like 6'7", and Trump and Trump's father and Trump himself and all Melania's, they're short motherfuckers. Well, Trump's not short. He's like 6 foot what, 2? But not 6 foot fucking 7. They fucking changed that guy's genetics 100%. Little in vitro, bada bing, bada boom. A little bit of CRISPR here, a little bit of CRISPR there.
Yeah, Epstein. It wasn't even that. It was way more advanced. I mean, Melania was part of fucking, was was part of that, was chosen to be one of the vessels to breed.
I don't know about call it vessels to breed. She was just a fucking hot piece of ass that
Well,
was looking for a home.
but they had, I mean, they had the modeling agencies that they fucking chose to,
Yeah,
to choose
the
from.
whole
So
thing that was like so random recently was her.
Trump could have had any woman that he wanted through
Mine
Epstein
just
and
yeah,
through
just
Jean
any
Luc,
anybody. The
Brunel,
weird
whatever.
thing to me was when she came out, like, what was it, like a month ago, and just like gave that speech about how she didn't know Jeffrey Epstein or only knew him through
Yeah,
passing. When like it is so clear as day that
because their whole modeling system was Jean Luc Brunel. That, so it's, it was who killed himself. So he would have been, he's been gone for a while, but he was the one who signed Melania, and that's who, like their whole thing with Trump's, when he was doing the pageant stuff. This all tied together, all of it, all the anything having to do with the fashion and the sex.
yeah, I'm
It's
super
all,
interested to see
and
what
they want you to forget that part.
I'm super interested to see what comes out after Trump gets out of office, and they start really because like what's going to happen post Trump administration. It's going to be a whole
It's going to
It's
be
going to be
bad.
bad. Like it's going to be a whole vindication of like basically going after as many people in the Trump administrations as they can. And they're
And I might vote Democrat. I think I'm going to
I,
vote Democrat to make it, to see it happen.
it's going to happen, and like they're going to crack open and unredact all the files with Trump, and everything's going to come out. Whether Trump's pardons
Yeah,
like
I said this whole presidency was control of the Epstein files, and I'm right. I'm right. Most everybody was saying I'm crazy for that, but that's the reality of it.
the wildest part was fucking Mr. Commerce Secretary Lutnick himself, like going and out of his way to have an interview
Yeah,
and basically bone face lying to the interviewer, being like, "Oh, I've only ever met Jeffrey Epstein once, and he was my neighbor, but I in my house in New York or my condo in New York, he was my neighbor,
yeah.
but I only ever
Well, watch his post
yeah,
9/11
I don't
video. That's even
I
more.
only
That's even more appalling.
I only
You know,
met him once, and I went to his house, and I was disgusted by him, and I never ever seen him or associated with him again after that. Like saying that,
the massage
yeah, like
table.
saying
Yeah,
saying that, and then knowing you went to his actual island and hung out with him, and that
they literally had doors between their
yeah,
places. I do not doubt it.
yeah,
Interior
and
doors.
then knowing that there was like pictures of that event and then telling the interview that never things never happened, and then like 2 months later or more than 2 months, a while later, all those photos come out. Like how big of a fucking idiot he disappeared, right? Like he has not been in the limelight at all in the last three
Yeah.
or 4 months.
Well, he's there to ensure the cover up of the 9/11. What happened to fucking, that's the files that are actually missing in the Epstein files right now. The unredacted files, they all happened around the 9/11 years. So Epstein definitely coordinated that with Harry Lutnick, and his whole team went, like, over 100 people died in the fucking, you know, from, what's he, Cantor Fitzgerald, right? And he just happened to be not at work that day because he had to bring his kid to school because his wife demanded him do so, since he just never does it. It was the luck, so much luck with Harry Lutnick.
Hash Brown's retarded. I don't know if he left. Yeah, he left. But Hash Brown's retarded.
Howard
Big
Lutnick.
time.
There's a lot of luck with him. So much luck.
Yeah, he's in with Tether too. There's definitely some shady shit going on there.
To be fair, Magoo, every group needs like somebody brings them down a couple notches
Yeah,
when
how
they're
does that
flying
go wrong?
high. That's what hashtag does us.
Oh, that's what hashtag. Why?
He seems to be able to set up some of the best, well orchestrated rug pulls in entire history. So what's he doing with Tether right
Yeah,
now? How does that rug to his advantage? Into what?
yeah. What was it? One day before 9/11, Donald Rumsfeld said they've misplaced $1 trillion. Oh, oh no,
Yeah, we lost it.
we lost $1 trillion. This stage,
Cold Trilly.
$1 trillion ain't much. That's only like 1,000 times more than what Prime Trust is going after Swan for now.
Yeah, what's even the point of this? So like, really? I mean, just to satisfy their own insurance policies requirements of them.
They have to.
And who insured Prime Trust?
Well, no one. They clearly didn't have an insurance policy, because if they did, they would have never gotten that $80 million hole. That's the problem. They never had insurance, period. And now these bankruptcy trustees are basically obligated by fiduciary duty to get as much assets back under the estate, the bankruptcy, so that they can make it basically make
real world law.
Yeah, to make them as whole as possible, really, right? Which is funny that like they're going after 900 million of Swan, of the withdrawals, which are basically just all their clients' funds. But like Prime Trust is only like 80, I think 80 was only $83 million in the hole or something. So even as it stands now, I think the claim holders of Prime Trust, I think they're going to get like 80 to 90 cents on the dollar, even without this, right? But they're going after Swan to get all these assets back, which would be very ugly if it actually happens. Like I have a hard time seeing that. You never know. That's why I'm telling everyone, take your Bitcoin off Swan. If any moron actually still has their Bitcoin on Swan.
God, I can't. Yeah. Holy fuck. All points bulletin, fucking get your Bitcoin off Swan if you still are fucking around with them fools.
Yeah.
That's the craziest shit ever.
Yeah, it's you have to be a fucking idiot at this stage to have.
I can't even believe they're allowed to do business right now. Like, why are they not like shut down completely?
I have no idea. They fucked up time and time again.
I still get their newsletter. I wonder how long that's going to last.
Well, they're probably trying to get people just giving them some money.
Well, I mean, when a black ops program, they still have to there's still some fallout, and there's some admission, and that's what I feel is happening here. It's very similar to MK Ultra, or other programs that are exposed, comes out. I think this is a big black hole for money. It just disappeared into nowhere, and no explanations. It either goes to the Trump administration or it goes even darker into like military stuff.